Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. Up on Mount Olympus where the gods rule the west gather. All 12 of the Olympians have gathered for a meeting. A meeting for the upcoming war with the Titans. Father, Athena spoke up, I have a plan that may help us. What is this plan of yours, Athena? Zeus asked his daughter. As you know that we have children that have our powers and abilities. All the gods nods to this. Some have stronger powers and abilities than others. What I'm subjecting is that we use the demigods. The goddess of wisdom explained. This of course caused all the gods to give Athena looks that could kill. Even Ares and Dionysus are giving Athena the strangest of looks, and that is saying something. Explain. Now, demands Zeus as he roars out. Taken aback by this, why you see the Titans have a strong army that is growing by the day. Artemis knows this for sure because she was captured by Atlas. Artemis gives Athena a dirty look. We won't be there to fight alongside the half-bloods as they fight the Titans and their army. I saw we bring out the demigods. Athena, dear sister, are you crazy? Apollo asks, you do realize that they are different from the other half-bloods, right? That's why we call them demigods. Yes, I know that. I've had one of my children to watch over them and learn how they think. They are locked up for a reason. Reason that they all did something that caused them to be locked up. Poseidon cuts into the conversion. We know what they are. If a god was to fade away and can't be reborn, then the demigod will take over that faded god position. The gods may have children that have their powers and abilities, but they are small and nowhere as powerful as their parents. Not even children of the big three are powerful as their parents. Every few centuries a child is born that can rival their parents' powers, giving them the power to overthrow them if they wish for it. Though with that much power in mortal form does have a downside as they are closer to a god, then they are more likely to fall. By falling, they give in to do great terrible things, but the gods make sure that they are watched closely and are made sure that they don't do anything. In the last few years they had a few demigods born. They did things that caused them to be captured and forced into a prison made just for them to never see the light of day. Athena, spoke up Hera, you do know what they would do if they are ever able to get free, right? Yes, but we need some teeth. Percy Jackson can only do so much by himself. I had my daughter that overlooks the demigods to come here with several files that may be able to help us. They aren't going to help us without something in return. Apollo stated, what if they want something in return? Then we will try to give it to them. Are you sure? This time Artemis cuts in since she was the one that had to capture the demigods. They each have something that they wish for. By giving them what they want we can use them instead of letting them rot in their prison. Very well my daughter, Zeus said, we will see if we can give them what they want, but if it is something that we can't give them, then they will not be given it. A car pulls over to the side of the street with the back door opens up. A dark-skinned woman gets out of the car with a briefcase in hand. She is wearing a nice clean press suit with a skirt. She walks into the Empire State Building, walks past the front desk, to the elevator, and pushed the special button that only those who knows it is there. It didn't take long before she arrives at the very top floor, Mount Olympus. Walking through the golden streets of Mount Olympus she can see what little of the remaining minor gods that have sided with the Olympians. Thinking of the traitors that betrayed the Olympians because they wanted more power. They were power with that much power and can't become something else, which they are not. The fools think that Kronos would give them more power when he'll just kill them as they are not titans. The fools, all of them, they are so short-sighted because they want more power and that will be their downfall. It's only a matter of time before Zeus has a son himself and that son kills him. It's only a matter of time, thought the woman. The woman stands in front of the largest doors on Mount Olympus. Beyond this door is where the Olympians are waiting for the meeting that will be taking place along with what is to come next. The use of the demigods that will fight in the upcoming war. They hold the power to change the tides of war. She will see that the demigods will be used and when the dust settle, both the Titans and the Olympians will be dead and they will take the ropes for the new world that will come. And she will be the one to stand at the top leading the world as it should be. After all, a daughter of Athena always has a plan, and what better plan is to take out the heads from within. The doors open up and she makes her way inside with all 12 Olympians are there along with Hestia tending to the hearth. The daughter of Athena scowls at the thought of these beings and all the power they have and they don't use it. They could use the power to make the world a better place, but they don't. The gods are nothing more children in the eye of this daughter of Athena. Good, you all came. My name Amalia Weller and I'm a daughter of Athena. As you may all know, war is coming. A war that could change the world forever. The half-blood can only do so much till they die, which they will. It sounds like you think all of the half-blood will die in this war, Ares said. Let it be known that Ares doesn't care much for the half-blood, even if they are his children. They are soldiers in his eyes, eyes of a general. He is also the god of war, and everything that falls under war is his domain, which is the half-bloods, since they are the soldiers of Olympus. They do have some of the best training, but they don't and can't use it to show how strong they are. They aren't like the old half-bloods that could fight for hours and days at a time before resting. Most will die with the upcoming months, and in the final battle there will be more deaths, Amalia coldly stated. Wow, a cold Athena, Poseidon spoke up. I didn't know you could have such cold children, Athena. No, I don't raise that many that are this cold, but Amalia is different. Amalia is my demigod. She sees things and think differently than most of my other children, even Annabeth. Ah, the golden child of Athena. It's a shame that she lets her emotions for a traitor to cloud her mind. It'll cost her one of these days, again Amalia coldly stated, but enough of that. I came here to show you that you gods can use the demigods as weapons should it come down at it, which it has. It was coming clearer and clearer that this was a different daughter of Athena that they are all so used to. They've all forgotten what it was like to deal with a demigod. It was clear that she saw the world for what it truly was, it was. Amalia throws out a few feathers that became owls. The daughter of Athena then opened her briefcase with all of the owls taking the folders and flying over to the gods and give them the folders. Flipping through several pages to see only a handful of demigods and a long list of what they've done. The first one of the list is Naruto Uzumaki, son of Aphrodite. A frown came upon the goddess of love's face as she looks at the picture of her son. He has the strongest charm-speaking ability ever seen. He wears that mask so that others don't fall under his spell. Great. A male version of the whore, Artemis claims, I want this one dead. Watch and see. Amalia walks over to the hearth. Excuse me, Lady Hestia, for I need to use the hearth for a bit. By all means go ahead. Hestia complies. Amalia pulls a bag out of her briefcase. Reach her hand into the bag to pull out a handful of sand. She tossed the sand into the hearth, which caused the hearth to grow stronger, bigger, and brighter. Cytherea nightclub. The lights shining, the music is loud, and the drinks are going around. One can lose oneself in this madness that is taking place of this lustful place. If one can look closely, then you can see that the bartender is slipping pills in the drinks for men to give to women, but it wasn't just the men that was doing it, as women was drugging men to sleep with. A place to take advantage of people, a place of lust, a place of desire, a place perfect for those that want what they don't have. Sitting in a private section of the nightclub sits Naruto. He has gold blonde hair that shines in the sun so bright it can blind a man and drive women crazy to run their fingers through it. His eyes are the clearest and bluest eyes that can put to shame the biggest of sapphires. His skin is the perfect tan that anyone and everyone who tans will envy. And finally, there are 3 scars on each of his cheeks that give Naruto a feral look. Come now, Naruto, you can do this and be rich for the rest of your life, says the man sitting in front of Naruto. I don't think so. His voice is smooth, but you can hear that at one point he had an injury to the thread. I don't think that is a good idea. You see, if you go through with that deal, then it would cause me problems. Really, Blondie? You think I'll let you walk out of here after all the stuff you know what goes on in here? Why, yes, I am. You are going to give me what I want. Then you will take out your gun, place it against your head and pull the trigger. The club owner takes out a file and hands it to Naruto, which after he takes out his gun, places the barrel to his temple and pulls the trigger. Blood, brains, and bone fly and cover anyone who is in that direction. People start screaming and yelling out. The guards rush over and take out their guns to point and aim them at Naruto. Stop. Everyone in the whole nightclub does as Naruto commands, turn your guns on the crowd and open fire. It was simple. Everyone had to die in the nightclub. With this much lust and desire in the air, it was overwhelming. This club had to die and everyone in it. You, bartender, spray everyone with your highest alcohol. Naruto commands once more. With everyone under Naruto's control with his charm speaking, it makes this so much easier than killing everyone one at a time. smirking as the alcohol is set ablaze with him walking out of the bar while it burns to the ground. When Naruto walked outside, Artemis and her hunters were waiting for him. "Hello, Moon," greeted the handsome blonde. "What brings you here?" "You are to be captured and brought to Bel Rev. Come quietly." "Bel Rev? Sounds French. I'll come with you quietly, if only you'll take an oath." "And why would I do that?" "Take it. The goddess of the moon tries to fight the charm speaking, for only Aphrodite can make the other gods do anything with her charm speaking. But for one of her children to have that much power is another thing. I will take the oath, but I need to know what you want from me. She can't hold out against the charm speaking any longer. I have a daughter that I need you to look after. But she will not be taking your stupid oath." Some of the hunters didn't take too kindly to that and notched their aims. Aim at each other. Artemis couldn't do a thing as each of her hunters turned to each other taking aim. "You need to take better aim of your hunters. It would be a shame if I said to shoot." "Fine. I swear on the river of Styx that I'll look after your daughter and make sure she doesn't take my oath." Naruto holds up his wrists. "Take me to Bel Rev. Mount Olympus." All the gods are stunned that a demigods. Aphrodite smiles as her son showed the virgin her place. Taking all those girls before they could become women and find love. The nerve of her. Ares didn't hide his joy as he laughed at his sister. "Take that deer shit. Those hunters of yours need to learn their place." The god of war can't remember how many times he hears from his children that the hunters just do whatever they want to do without any punishment whatsoever. "Those are my hunters you are taking about, Ares. Artemis is not going to be taking this from the other gods." "Artemis," Dionysus started to say, "the campers have a very deep hatred for your hunters because you don't punish them for their actions. When they burned the camp down last time they were there, you didn't do a thing to them. This is bringing up more problems that can be brought up later," Artemis says as she really just lets them do what they want. "This is getting out of hand." Amanda chimes in, "We have others that you need to see." Gabriel Reyes, son of Hades, said God looks up as he hadn't heard from his wayward son for many years. "Before any of you say that Hades had another child by breaking his oath, don't." Gabriel has a strong shadow travel ability that he used to stay in the shadows for decades. "That is improvised to stay in the shadows for decades," Hades stated. "How did you catch him?" Amanda looks over to Artemis. "The moon goddess caught most of them." Gabriel became a bounty hunter, and how many hunters did he kill? She asked waited joyfully. Sand was thrown into the hearth, which caused the hearth goes bigger, stronger, and brighter. Dallas, Texas. A dead body drops to the floor with holes leaking blood. Stepping on the dead body is Gabriel Reyes, who goes by the name Reaper. He is wearing a black coat with bits and pieces of armor covering his body. A skull mask covering his face. The son of Hades is wielding a pair of shotguns with smoke still coming out of the barrels. "You tried to put a fight and this had to happen. Kicking the head, you were worth more alive than dead." Reaper picks up the dead body and heads outside. The sun just went down with only a bit of light before the streetlights turn on. The bounty hunter stops to see Artemis and her hunters wanting for him. "Hunter, move, this is my kill. You are to be brought to Bel Rev, son of Hades. Come quietly," commands Artemis, dropping the dead body and takes out his two shotguns. Black shadows start to come off Reaper's body before he appears in the middle of the hunters. He spins around with more and more shadows surround him as he fires his shotguns, killing several of the hunters. Artemis, acting quickly, takes out his bow and fires an arrow that pierces Reaper's shoulder, causing him to stop from killing her hunters. Reaper surrounds himself with shadows before sinking into the ground. Artemis looks around trying to find the son of Hades before she saw him coming out of the ground several miles away. Using the moonlight to teleport and slamming Reaper into the ground. She takes out her hunting knives and drive them into his back. "You will stay," shouted Artemis. "If you so move as breath, I'll sever your spine." "I'll get you for this, Hunter," promised Reaper. Mount Olympus. Hades gives Artemis a stare that if she wasn't a goddess she would be dead. Amanda smirks as the gods are getting at each other's throats. This is what she wanted. With the coming war, and with each of them wanting to kill each other, is perfect. The daughter of Athena looks at each of the gods and hold back her disgust. The only one that doesn't disgust her is Hestia, for she sacrificed so much to stop a war between Apollo and Poseidon. "Before you start killing each other, I have a few more to list off." Athena looks at her daughter and is trying to figure what she is thinking, but lets her continue. "I have a daughter of Demeter, Pamela Isley." "A fan of poison ivy?" Apollo looks over to his aunt. I didn't know you liked DC, Aunt Demeter. She can grow plants. I couldn't help but name her that when I found out she's my demigod, confessed Demeter. She caused problems at a peaceful protest when she attacked the workers. Amanda deadpans the demigod's mother. North Dakota. It was a simple protest with environmentalists chained themselves to the heavy machinery that the workers could use to cut down the trees. But what the environmentalists don't know is that the land is in fact killing the trees to where they're causing more harm than helping. There was a chemical spill from an accident several miles away from the highway that went into the water for that area. While the chemical spill was cleaned up, the damage was already down. The sound of a loudspeaker turns on. Can you please stand down so that we can cut down those trees? Asked the foreman. No, shouted back the leader for the environmentalists. You can't keep cutting down our trees. They have rights too. The foreman slaps himself as he is now dealing with hippies. Great. Now there are hippies here. Boss. One of his workers came running up to him. The police have arrived and they have some tear gas. What do I tell them? I want to try and see if I can get them to leave first peaceful. All I need is someone to get injured. That's what the police said too. They're just waiting for you to give them a signal to end this as peaceful as they can. Before the foreman could do anything, some of the trees start to move and attack the workers. One of the trees picked up one of the cutting machines and throws it at the police. People are running and screaming from the environmentalists to the workers, and even the police. If anyone was to turn and look back, they would have seen a beautiful woman with long red hair with a few pink flowers in her hair standing and commanding the trees to attack the workers. Vines wrap around her left hand and move the vines like the strings on a puppet, commanding the trees to move. This person is Pamela Isley, daughter of Demeter. If she was paying any attention to her surrounding, then she would have noticed when a heavily armored truck stops just outside where the protesters were, with several armed men jumping out. One of the men climbs on top of the armored truck and sets up a sniper rifle. Looking through the scope with Pamela in his sights, I have a shot, said the sniper. The commander looks through his binoculars. Take the shot, said Captain Rick Johnson, son of Mars. You may be wondering why a Roman is doing leading a team to capture a Greek? To put it simple, the Greeks and Romans work together to capture and make sure the demigods don't do any harm. Yes, while Artemis and her hunters take most of the demigods to Bel Rev. They come in when it is out in the open. The sniper, who is a son of Apollo, fires and hits Pamela with a tranquilizer that acted quickly. Pamela stumbles around holding her neck where the tranquilizer hit her. It only took 2 minutes for the redhead to fall to her knees and then took a nap. The team quickly rushed out and placed handcuffs around her wrists and ankles. Rick waved his hand as a woman does her magic and caused everyone on site to forget what they just witnessed. Mount Olympus. That was a Roman, shouted out Athena. Why was a Roman there? She looks to her daughter for answers, as all her children knows how much she dislikes the Romans for what they did to her. And her daughter answer back. They have some of the best trained fighters that we have. She looks over to Ares. Rick Johnson served for 10 years in the Roman Legion before joining the country's military and worked his way up to captain at a very young age. You should be proud for him. Damn right I am. Ares always glowed when his children joined the military and gain high ranks, even if he's a Roman. Should the Romans really be working with the Greeks? Zeus asked Amanda. Yes, but you have to remember that most of the people working at Bel Rev are those that are older than 20 years ago. They have survived long enough to know that petty blood. She looks to her mother. If one does not know when to get over one's hatred, then you are doomed. Oh, shots fired. Hermes appears next to Athena with his cell phone in hand and takes a selfie. Don't try to argue Abel this, as you don't have a say in how Bel Rev is run, Amanda stated with cold hard facts. Who are the members on the team that captured Demeter's demigod? Asked Poseidon, since he really wants to know who are working at Bel Rev. As you saw, Rick Johnson is the leader of the capturing team. Tink C. Luster, who is a daughter of Hecate. She's strong with her magic and uses it to erase the memories of mortals that seen them capturing the demigods. Desmond Float, who's a son of Apollo and the team's sharpshooter. That's just a few to name some. Amanda takes out another file. This is the next demigod, Robin West, son of Apollo. He's one of the deadest sharpshooters in the world. Sweet. That's my boy. The sun god shines brightly. You idiot, Artemis insults her brother. He's in Bel Rev. Oh, what did he do? He asked the demigod of Athena. He's a renowned assassin that kills for the highest bidder. Stated said demigod of Athena. Chicago, Illinois. Winter is in full swing in Chicago with one of the few days where it isn't snow like a blizzard. Robin is wearing a nice leather jacket with a little girl holding his hand as they walk down the street. Just like any other son of Apollo, he has bright blonde hair, tanned skin like he spends most of his time out in the sun, and bright blue eyes. All in all, Robin looks like he should be living in California surfing the waves on the Pacific Ocean. "Now, tell me again what your mother said," asked Robin his daughter. "Mom said that you need to get a better job. One where you don't kill people." Robin's daughter knows he kills people for money. "I kill people for money to pay for child support, because your mother is a greedy bitch." Robin nearly lost his temper when he thinks about his ex-wife. Robin was about to say something else when several SUVs pulled up and several armed men surrounding him and his daughter. They aim their rifles as Tink C cast the mist so the mortals don't see them. Rick stands in front of men. "Robin West, you need to come with us," said Rick. "Come with us quietly and we'll make sure that your daughter gets home safely." Robin looks down to his daughter. The demigod of Apollo doesn't want to go with them, and probably can kill them all, but she'll see. Looking at each and every single one of them confirms that Robin can kill them all, but would be tried afterwards. And if even more were to arrive, he wouldn't be able to do a thing about it. "Fine, I'll go with you, if you promise to take my daughter to her greedy mother." It didn't take long for the cuffs to be placed on Robin's wrists as he is led into the back of one of the SUVs. While his daughter was taken to another SUV. Robin looks at the cuffs. He just can feel that his powers were dampened to the point that he could still fight all these people, but he wouldn't be walking away from the fight. Mount Olympus. "Wow," says Apollo, "not only do I have a badass son, but I have a granddaughter." "Apollo, you do know that he's in Bel Rev, right?" said Hermes, as he can see having a son like that would make any father happy, but this was pushing it. "It know that, Hermes. But come on. Ares gets the army brats with some of them becoming good snipers. I want some that are good snipers," cries out the sun god. "That's 4 demigods," Poseidon spoke, as he can see where this is going. He knows how powerful a fully trained demigod can be if they are let loose, but he doesn't want that many running around. None of the gods want that. "How many more demigods do you want to use?" "Just one more. This one took some time, but have a lengthy distinction we came to an accord. I give you Geno's no last name," as he throw it away after his family was killed by monsters. "The demigod of Hephaestus," said God looked up as he really wasn't paying attention to what was happening. But when the smith god heard his demigod's name called out, he had to look up. He remembers Geno's, for he is one of the few children he had that could create, control, and manipulate fire. Washington. A tunnel of flames burned through several miles of the forest, creating a wildfire. The few monsters that survived and won't hid run for their lives, screaming and yelling that they picked a fight with a real monster. Geno's, the one that started the fire, cools off his arms. He has pale blonde hair with gold color eyes that stands out. But that doesn't really stand out because his arms are the ones that stand out. Covering his arms are a pair of long-sleeve armor with vents to cool off his arms after using the intense flames that the blonde can create. Even with this group, they know nothing. Geno's runs his metal-covered fingers through his hair, and those that survived have fled. What a pain this has become. A heliport flies over and circle around before landing in front of Geno's. The side door slides open with Amanda walking out. He makes her way over to the demigod of Hephaestus. As she does so, the woman looks around to see that the damage is too great. The forest fire will last for several days and it'll be seen by mortals. "It took some time finding you, Geno's, son of Hephaestus," Amanda said. "How do you know my name?" he asked, since he really goes into towns or cities. "We know how you really are, demigod of Hephaestus. I have orders to bring you in so that you don't cause more damage. Demeter might want to kill you herself at this rate. I can't do that. I'm hunting down monsters," replied Geno's, since he is hunting for a special type of monster that hasn't been seen in years, maybe centuries, unless you know where I can find this monster. "In the matter of fact, I do." This caused Geno's eyes to widen. "The monster you've been looking for has been captured by Cronus and won't be set free till the battle for Olympus is underway. Come with me, and when the monster is going to be released, I'll let you fight it," explained the demigod of Athena. Geno's thinks over what the woman said. This could be his only chance that he has to fight that monster. For years now Genos has been trying to track it down. Whenever he was close to finding it would up and leave, leaving behind death, fire, and acid. Making up his mind for this is a very good chance to have revenge. Very well. I'll go with you, but if for some reason you'd lied to me, the vents on Genos' arms glow bright orange as heat comes out of them. I'll incinerate everything in my path to burn you to ash. Proclaims the son of Hephaestus. Mount Olympus. And there you have it. With those 5 demigods we can turn the tide of this war. Amanda finishes showing the gods of Olympus her plans. What say you? I don't like this, stated Athena. Yes, the demigods would be able to push back Cronus' forces back, but they are too powerful. They might turn on us when everything is said and done. I already have plans just in case if that were to come. Amanda takes out a small device. This right here is a trigger to several bombs that will be placed into each and every single demigod. It is powerful enough to blow their heads clean off of their shoulders. So you don't have to worry about them going rogue. How powerful? Asked Ares, since explosives were kind of his thing. They have to be pretty big if they're going in their necks. This shocked everyone there. What? I'm the god of war, people. I know how explosives work, damn it. They are the he size of rice, but have enough kick to do the job. A son of Hephaestus thought it up and made it. His name is Forge. Works hard and gets paid enough to make sure his plans don't wind up on the black market. Anything else? What is the first target? This time it was Zeus that asked, since he doesn't want the demigods to just run about with no clear targets. That's an easy one. They will hunt down the one who started everything. Hermes' stomach drops as he knows what the demigod of Athena is talking about, Luke Castellan. There's a problem with that at the moment, chimed in Artemis. Luke Castellan has been out at sea for months now. Even Poseidon can't find it, looking over to her uncle. Sorry Poseidon, but it's true. The god of the seas waves it off, none taken for it's true. They are using something very powerful to block me, from seeing them in the waters. How would you drag Luke out of hiding? Amanda decided to drop the bomb that she had for some time. There have been evidence that there's a traitor over at Camp Half-Blood, just like how it would turn. The gods are in shock that there is a traitor at Camp Half-Blood. They all know that the Half-Bloods have been leaving and joining Luke's army because they haven't been claimed yet. I plan to have Naruto go through each and every single Half-Blood there and make them confess if they are the traitor or not. What must be done, been done, spoke out Athena. She looks away. She doesn't like this plan, but it's the fastest way to find the traitor. And it'll be for the best. With the traitor out of the way so quickly, Luke wouldn't be gaining any intel that the camp may do. Let it be known that I don't like this plan one bit. Who will be in charge to lead the demigods? You. No, that will be Captain Rick. No, shouted the goddess of wisdom. I will not have a Roman walk right into the camp. Then the traitor will still be running around with the enemy knowing everything that we know and then some. This is war. What the Romans did to you was the right thing to do. Amanda shouted back at her mother. I would have done the same thing, for it weakened a powerful goddess. How do you end a war quickly? By making it so they can't make any battle plans. Amanda turns to Zeus, since he was the one in charge. You're the king of Olympus, Lord Zeus. What would have you done to end the war in the quickest way? Zeus, not liking to be placed on the spot, since everyone and their mothers knew how Athena felt about the Romans when they sacked her city and temple. In his mind it was brilliant to take away Athena's statue, as it forced her to lose so much of her power that any and all strategies became useless. With a heavy mind he spoke out the truth. It was the fastest way to win a war if a god lose their power source. That being said, you have the right to use the demigods as you please, but they have to be returned to Bel Rev when this is all over. Am I clear on this? Bowing to the king of Olympus, yes, Lord Zeus. Amanda didn't wait as she turned around and makes her leave. The other gods and goddesses so leave, with Athena being the only one remaining. She sat there as her own daughter. Her demigod told her to suck it up because it was war that caused her to lose so much power before becoming a Roman goddess. She turned her gaze over to where her daughter stood and narrowed her eyes. That was her daughter. That was her daughter. She was planning something. Something that was most likely wasn't for the best interest for Olympus. Throughout the centuries the demigods have tried to gain power and take over, but they were defeated and the next demigod was born. This is the first time that demigods were being let loose freely in centuries, and her daughter was leading them. Something isn't right, and I aim to find out what she is planning. Mark my words, I'll make you pay for bring that up. And if I find out that you are planning something dark, I'll have a new demigod by time this is all over with. Athena thought to herself. Amanda made her way back to the ground floor and quickly gets into her car. Sitting in the back sit the demigod of Athena smirks. Everything went according to plan. They fall for it because this war is the closest to them fading away. There hasn't been a war like this since World War II, but even then they didn't have to worry. But this was too perfect of a chance to pass up. Soon the gods will let down their guard and that's when they'll strike. They will kill and make the gods fade, with the demigods taking their rightful place on top of Mount Olympus and lead the world to a better future. It's only a matter of time now. Just a matter of time. During Amanda Weller's youth she came from a military family. Her father met Athena when he was in the military and was going to college during his time stateside. When Athena dropped her daughter off it hurt Amanda's father's career, but he was able to save it by showing off his skill in manipulating the enemy into doing what he wanted them to do. As she was growing up and learning from her father, it became apparent that she was different from everyone else. Learning anything and everything at an unnatural rate, her father told the young woman the truth about her mother. How she was a goddess named Athena and she came to be by having a child through the use of her mind. It wasn't shortly afterwards a letter came in the mail that stated she was invited to visit Camp Half-Blood. While she was there she learned about the Greek pantheon, but it just disgusted her to no end. Seeing how the other children wanted the love of their parents that didn't give two shits about them. Wanting to go on quests like the old heroes did and make their names known. During her time there she met another demigod named Naruto Uzumaki who had the whole camp wrapped around his finger. The son of Aphrodite had the strongest charm speaking in history and knew how to use it without even trying. It was during their time together when a plan came to form and final is coming together. A new age was needed. There have been 5 ages of men so far, and each one has been worse than the last. The first was the Golden Age that was ruled by Cronus. During this age the immortals who lived on Olympus created these humans to live among the Titans, and freely mingled with them. Peace and harmony prevailed during this age. Humans did not have to work to feed themselves, for the earth provided food in abundance. They lived to a very old age but with a youthful appearance and eventually died peacefully. The remnants of this spirits were called guardians with only a few remaining to this day. The Silver Age takes place when Zeus took over after the fall of Cronus. The men in the Silver Age lived for 100 years under the dominion of their mothers. They lived only a short time as grown adults, and spent that time in strife with one another. During this age men refused to worship the gods and Zeus destroyed them for their impiety. After death, humans of this age became blessed spirits on the underworld. You can usually find this on the Isle of Bless. The Bronze Age came afterwards and it was one of the shortest ages to come. For the men of the Bronze Age were hardened and tough, as war was their purpose and passion. Zeus created these humans out of the ash tree. Their armor was forged of bronze, as were their homes and tools. The men of this age were undone by their own violent ways and left no named spirits. Instead, they dwell in the Ark House of Hades. This age came to an end with the flood of Deucalion. The heroic age is the one age that does not correspond with any metal. It is also the only age that improves upon the age it follows. It was the heroes of this age who fought at Thebes and Troy. This race of humans died and went to Elysium. And then we come to the current age, the Iron Age. The humans of this age live an existence of toil and misery. Children dishonor their parents. Brother fights with brother and the social contract between guest and host is forgotten. During this age might makes right, and the bedmen use lies to be thought good. It is said that when this age has reached its height humans will no longer feel shame of indignation at wrongdoing. Babies will be born with gray hair and the gods will have completely forsake humanity. There will be no help against evil. Amanda aims to end this Iron Age to begin the Platinum Age. For platinum is purer than gold, making an age that will be told for all times as the age that ended the rule of Zeus. The demigod of Athena studied and studied till she came across something that she shouldn't have had. There are other pantheons and each of them are far more powerful than the Greek pantheon. While they passed power down to the next king, the Greeks didn't do that. Instead it was taken through violence. Cronus killed his father Uranus and took the throne, and Zeus killed Cronus to take the throne. But something kept coming up in her research and it was the term Supreme God. Digging more Amanda found out that Supreme Gods hold the most power in all of the pantheon. A ranking for the powers in a pantheon going from supreme god, to major god, to minor god. Digging even further, she found out that Zeus isn't a supreme god, but just a major god. He tricked the supreme gods of the Greek pantheon into giving up most of their power without even knowing it. Learning that there are 3 supreme gods in the Greek pantheon, and those 3 are Hestia, Hades, and Aphrodite. Shocked to learn that these supreme gods lost their position of power because they've been tricked. Hades lost because he was tricked into taking over the underworld when he should have been ruling heaven. Aphrodite losing her position because she was forced to marry Hephaestus. And Hestia lost her position because Poseidon and Apollo were going to go to war with each other to marry her. And the worst part is, if Zeus were to fade, they can't reclaim the seat of heaven. That would fall onto Apollo or Ares, but since Apollo is stronger than the god of war, he could claim the seat. You may be wondering how Amanda found all this information? She found a being most old, most powerful, a being so old that everyone forgot that it exists. Any child of Athena wouldn't dare come near it as they fear these creatures. Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana. It has been a few days since Amanda Weller's meeting with the gods on top of Mount Olympus, with her returning to Belle Reve. Belle Reve is located in Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana, for its swamplands. The only safe way to get out of Belle Reve is through plane, for the swamps are unforgiving as many monsters stake the wetlands. Each of the guards have the best training that money could buy, with most of them serving 15 years as a legionnaire before they could even try joining Belle Reve. Each cell is made for that demigod, since there are only that demigod for every god. But deep in the depths of Belle Reve rests a demigod that even Amanda Well wishes to never see the light of day. A demigod so powerful that can drive the world into madness. For this demigod is the demigod of Dionysus. Cell Block AA is made for the demigods of the minor gods. The minor gods may not be able to claim their children like the major gods can. It doesn't mean they can't have demigods. It is a little harder to find them since they can't be claimed, but that doesn't stop Rick and his team from tracking them down and capturing them. The demigod of Eris gave some trouble since she could use discord to cause accidents that made capturing most difficult. The demigod of Limos caused famine that destroyed dozens of crops and livestock. Or the demigod of Melinoe for causing a whole town to suffer nightmares for several months before being captured. And that is just to name a few that are living in Cell Block A. Cell Block B is made for the demigods for the major gods. Since they are stronger than the demigods of the minor gods, they have several more guard patrolling that cell block. While this cell block isn't as big since there is only 12 demigods here at a time. Or if that were the case, should Zeus or Poseidon were to have more children, then their demigods would take up a cell. Cell Block C are for those that like to cause trouble to matter, if they be demigods of the minor or major gods. These cells are more like solitary confinement, with only 2 people taking up residence for the time being. The demigod of Aphrodite and the demigod of Dionysus. Cell Block B-. What up? What up? What up? Says the head guard for Belle Reve as he bangs on the metal door for Robin West's cell door. Woody is a son of Ares and worked his way up the ladder to become the head guard for Belle Reve. But shortly after he became the head guard, he started slacking since he doesn't have to work that much anymore. It doesn't help that he gets a power trip because he has to look after all the demigods since they can't do anything to him. Walking to the metal door, "What is it?" asked Robin. The demigod of Apollo has been sitting in his cell for the last 11 months with only an 8x10 to look of. "Dinner time already?" "You know it." Opens the small door to the metal door and places loaf of bread inside. "What's this?" Taking the loaf of bread and waves it around. "Yes, the meals aren't very good, but that doesn't mean you should only eat bread. Mealtime since you caused that little problem last time." "Little problem?" "He had it coming, just you'll get if you don't me something better to eat." Smirking, "Did you just threaten me?" Thinking it over for like a second before nodding his head, yes, I did." "What are you doing to do about it?" The metal door flies up with several guards rushing in easily because there are power dampening fields placed around not just each cell, but the whole prison. These dampening fields prevent demigods and half-bloods from using their powers. Though since demigods are so powerful, the dampening fields can only do so much. Robin was thrown into a chair with one of the guards holding him down while another hits him with a baton across his stomach. The next cell is Pamela Isley. For her cell is sitting in the middle of the large room with several flame-throwing aiming at her with red solar lamps shining down onto her. The redhead's powers aren't only being dampening, but with the red solar lamps bathing her, she can't grow any plants. Such a fine piece of ass you are, says as he slides a tray of food into the cell. Pamela's food is a potato and a loaf of bread. Knows that Pamela won't eat the bread since she is full vegan. Come on pretty lady, eat up. Pathetic little man asks me to eat. The demigod of Demeter picks up the potato. Little man thinks he can order yous around like some whore. You didn't pay us. And you can't pay yous, little man. Walks away because for some strange reason if you aren't careful Pamela will trick you into letting her go. During the 8 months that she stayed here the redhead had tried to escape 3 different times. Gabriel Reyes sits in his cell making shadow puppets because powerful lights are shining down onto it at all times. The lights make it so you can't use shadow travel. Some would ask why can't he use his own shadow, and the answer is simply because the shadow is too small. During his long life Gabriel learned that the bigger the shadow, the longer he can travel. It's all about size. Born just before World War I started and growing up a nice life did wonders for Reyes. When World War II rolled around he enlisted and for his country which wasn't easy when the other half-bloods learn you're the son of Hades. With Hitler being the son of Hades it always made other giving you doubt and mistreat. The children of Hades are always looked down upon. It doesn't made if Hades is one of the big 3. It doesn't made if you are placed in the Asphodel Meadows, or the Morning Fields, or the Fields of Elysium. It all comes down to if you have a better parents. Reyes can remember how he was sent on missions that were supposed to kill him, but everyone else who was sent with him. Not only did he finish his missions, but he was able to keep his men alive long enough for them to see that he was being targeted unfairly. It was during the final push to end the war when several children of Ares, Apollo, Hermes, and Zeus tried to kill him and blame it on the Germans, but they didn't count of the demigod of Hades to use shadow travel and kill them all. Since that day he's been running from Olympus. While he was using shadow travel for long it made his life longer than it should have been. I wonder how I'll break out of here, thought Reyes, because it is only a matter of time before he gets out of Bel Rev. Genos is laying on his bed with his arm behind his head. When he arrived at Bel Rev his arm protectors were taken and he was placed in a cell that has liquid nitrogen being pumped into the cell. One would think this would kill Genos, but it can't because he is always burning at such a high temperature the cold doesn't bother him. Genos has worn his arm protectors for so long his arms are pale and has very little muscle on them. The arm protectors give him the added strength to fight in hand-to-hand combat, even giving the edge of powerful heavy blows that can break boulders. Cell Block C. And finally Naruto is laying on his bed humming before rubbing his hand over the mask that he is wearing. The mask cover his lower jaw that giving only enough room to eat and spoke. But since his charm speaking is so powerful the walls are soundproof to make sure his voice doesn't leave the cell. A little over a year ago the demigod of Aphrodite made Artemis to take the oath so his daughter could have a safe place to stay. Even before he was caught the blonde heard whispers about the upcoming war. The gods of Olympus didn't want to hear about it, while the minor gods looked at this perfect chance to gain more power by siding with Cronus. Fools. All of them, thought the blonde. Cronus will use the minor gods and when he's finished, they'll most likely be killed and fade away, or forced to serve him and the rest of the titans for the rest of eternity. Naruto has to wonder if the return of Cronus is because Zeus and Poseidon had children when they weren't supposed to. The big 3 made an oath to never any more half-bloods and they both broke it. And you don't just break an oath that powerful without any fallback. Since nothing can happen to Zeus and Poseidon the world is paying for it. It's just like Amanda has said, the gods need to be replaced with a new generation. A plane lands on the landing stripe that leading into Bel Rev. When a plane lands the guards quickly rush out and make sure there are no monsters on the runway. One time they didn't clear the runway the plane crashed along with all the cargo, which was the food for the month. Let's just say the guards had to go hunting to feed themselves and the inmates for the month since another plane wasn't going to come. The plane touches down before coming to a stop. The cargo door of the plane opens up. Food, medicine, ammo, and other supplies were taken off. Amanda and Rick were greeted by, "Welcome to Bel Rev," says to Rick since he knows the son of Mars goes out and capture most of the demigods that are brought in. "Not me," the son of Mars points to Amanda, "greet her. She's the one in charge. Ma'am, do you have everything set up? Amanda didn't even bothering waiting for to say anything before walking ahead of everyone. She knows how this prison is run like the back of her hand. Yes, everything is all set and ready to go. But I want to say I think this is a bad idea. Noted and ignored. War is coming and we need the demigods, the demigod of Athena quickly said. Which of the demigods will you meet first? Rick ahead since he really doesn't know which one she'll go see. I'll go visit any old friend that I haven't seen in years. Knowing just the demigod to see. Cell Block C. Amanda Weller knew Naruto for years since way back during their time at Camp Half-Blood. Naruto stood out since he was the only son of Aphrodite at the time who trained and fought with everything else. An unlikely friendship that stood the test of time and then some. Seeing his old friend Naruto sits up from his bed, Amanda. It's so good to see you after so long. Naruto, she pauses before noticing the mask on his face. I see they aren't taking any chances with you again after last time. Come on, you tell a guard to stripe naked and run around the whole prison and no one will let you forget about it. Trying to hold back a smile, and you made him shit all over the place to write your name. You'd think a son of Aphrodite wouldn't want their name written in shit? Yet, you did it anyway. I know you've gotten a good laugh out of it. Naruto leans back against the wall, so I take it the gods are letting you have your team? Yes, this is the perfect chance to overthrow them. There is so much chaos the gods won't know what hit them. What about the half-bloods? They don't like change. Naruto knows this, so does Amanda. Change for them is like cancer. They will change or they will die. Only the strong have the right to live. Cold as always, Amanda-chan. You do realize that not everyone is going to want new gods taking over. I know that, that's why I have you. Your charm speaking will make it so that they follow us. You know that I don't like to use that ability just for that. I think people should have their own free will. I know Cronus had the best age, but even he wasn't sunshines and rainbows. You can't force people to follow you, Amanda. You'll just become another Zeus. I know that, but the first generation needs strong leaders. There will be a lot of death with some of the demigods and half-bloods dying with this war alone. I need those that I can trust and then some. She looks at the man sitting in front of her, like all those years ago, Naruto. A lot has happened between them. They had more than just a friendship. What most people don't know is that the children of Aphrodite can have a deep connect with anyone them deem worthy. A connect so deep that very few people can obtain this by natural means. Though in the last few years none of the children of Aphrodite haven't been aiming for that. Instead aiming to break the hearts of their lovers. Naruto doesn't know why his mother wants to cause so much pain for couples in love. He's been thinking that Aphrodite found her soulmate and he died. Most likely Dad, since Aphrodite was punished for trying to take care of me herself for the first few years of my life. Because I never heard of her taking care of her children. What Naruto was thinking couldn't have been any truer. Minato Namikaze was in face Aphrodite's soulmate. When she became the goddess of love she couldn't tell who her soulmate was. It was kind of cruel to her because she is the goddess of love and everyone deserved love. Naruto remembers all the bedtime stories around soulmates finding one another and living happily ever after. Because from what he was told, when soulmates find each other it is supposed to be something grand and wonderful. After Minato died Aphrodite was devastated. She didn't eat, she didn't sleep, she didn't even have sex with anyone. The goddess of love has thought that maybe Ares had a hand in it, for he is known for causing accidents to happen to the lovers she's taken over the years. You're thinking that love can reach everyone again, aren't you? Amanda asked, since Naruto had a better understand of people than most thought. I won't lie and say that, but I believe people just need the right push. But not everyone can love. You want to put Hestia on the throne, don't you? It wasn't a question since they both thought that Hestia would have made a great ruler. Everyone loves her, but she is too kind-hearted to make the hard decisions. It has ran across my mind maybe once or more. Who would take the throne after all said and done? You? Me? Our daughter? The demigod of Athena gives Naruto an icy look that could freeze hell over and then some. Watch what you say, Uzumaki. What we had was just a thing. And when the hard path came to take care of her I took it. What Naruto is talking about is during their time at Camp Half-Blood they started dating, and when they no longer went to camp they had a child together. Amanda didn't want a baby, but still kept it and deliver a healthy baby girl. The demigod of Athena quickly left, leaving the baby for Naruto to take care of. Yes, the blonde was pissed that Amanda left, but by taking care of his little girl he couldn't so said anything. She became his world and he would do anything for her. What was that old saying goes again? Athena always has a plan? Was it a plan to have Belle? Naruto asked since Amanda never really said anything about children coming into play. That was one thing that he'd wanted the most, a family more than anything. Those dreams were dashed with Amanda disappearing and then reappearing a few years later. This doesn't have anything to do with your daughter. This is about making sure that the gods are taken down, so that half-bloods don't die and can have a normal life to live in peace. So that the world doesn't have to deal with the gods throwing the little fits. And with that Amanda leaves Naruto to stare at where the dark-skinned woman stood. Standing there and thinking over everything that happened, and what may come to play. He looks at the floor to see bloody footprints. Tilting his head to the side before remember how his neighbor, Alma, "What are you doing?" asked as a woman in a red dress appears in his cell with long black hair. Moving back and forth before she rushes Naruto to force her hands on his mask-covered face. "Why do you let her talk to you like that? Why not just make her obey you with your charm speaking?" Naruto can see Alma's red eyes through her thick hair. "And what about you, Alma?" the blonde asked since no one could figure out what Alma was thinking most of the think, "You might charm speaking and get whatever I want." That wouldn't make things right to start off. It would lead to me using it all the time just to make sure she didn't break free. It also wouldn't make a very good example for my daughter. "You're no fun, Naruto," pouted the demigod of Dionysus, always wanting people to do the right thing on their own. "Well, what about you?" Looking down into the red-eyed woman to see all the anger and sadness in her eyes. "I remember that you killed your own mother after what she did to you. Do you want to do the same to others? Hurt them just because they did something to you?" "Yes," hissed out Alma, "they hurt me. They hurt someone innocent. Those that harm the innocent should die. But what if they didn't want to harm anyone? What if they themselves are being forced to harm others? There is more sides to a story than just one." Alma takes her hands off Naruto's face before taking a few steps back and disappears just like how she wasn't there in the first place. Naruto remembers Alma as she can drive someone mad if she wasn't careful. Alma was born into a wealthy family to a Dr. Harley Wade, a psychology teacher from UCLA. From an early age Harley knew that Alma was different and did thinking that normal children her age wouldn't do. So she started to run tests and experiments on her very own daughter. Over the years Alma's powers grew stronger because of the experiments. The daughter of Dionysus took great pleasure in tormenting her mother and her assistants by causing them to have nightmares, making see things that aren't there, causing suicides, and other mayhem to the point Harley Wade took her life because she couldn't make out what was real and what was not. When Alam was finally free from her mother she went to Camp Half-Blood where she met and learned from her father how to control her powers so they don't cause too much trouble for the camp. During her time there she met Naruto and most of the current demigods before she was captured and sent to Belle Reve. Robin is led outside to the training field where the guards practice using their weapons. He is brought to a table full of different types of firearms. Robin quickly recognizes all of the firearms in front of. "What is this?" Robin asks since they wouldn't just bring him out here for nothing. "This right here is tryouts," Rick says, "you're going to fire them." Quickly jumps in on this for he doesn't want Robin to get any ideas. "Now hold on. This man can kill us all with these. Do you know what he can do with these?" "I sure do. Uncuff him. I really don't like this idea." "Does so anyway." Robin picks up a .45 loads a magazine in it and pulls the slide. "You got on in the chamber. What are you doing to with it?" Rick asks since he has an idea what the son of Apollo might do. And he was right when Robin aims the barrel at, "Gods damn it. I knew this would happen." The rest of the guards aim their rifles at Robin. "We put him down," shouted out one of the guards. Stand down." Looks over to Rick, "See? This was going to happen." Looking back over to Robin, "Hey, you don't want to kill me. Remember that cookie that I brought you? The firing pin has been filed down?" Robin asked. "Sure," Rick says. "The magazine full of blanks." "That's right," Rick replies back. Robin points the gun to the side and pulls the trigger with the gun going off. Robin looks at the gun before bring it to his nose. Smelling the gunpowder and the oil for the slide. It's been so long since the demigod of Apollo smelt this. So very long since he'd held a gun. Feeling the recoil from a gun going off. "You jokers must be tripping." Robin walks over to the table. He takes aim with both hands on the .45 and fires down the firing range. He continues to fire till he runs out of ammo and quickly reloads. When that was over, he changed over to a 9mm. Robin does that with each and every firearm that was placed on the table. With each shot fired, a headshot was hit, for his aim was true. Once finished firing all the weapons laid out in front of him, Robin goes over to Rick. I don't know what you are planning, but I have a price. I want full rights and custody. My ex-wife can visit on the weekends. And I want my daughter to go to the best schools in the country. The best that the money can buy, nods his head. And when she gets to college, all of them be paid off with her going to Yale, Harvard, Ivy League. Yeah, that's right. And if from some strange reason she can't keep up with her grades, make them go away. Whitewash that shit. Now here's the thing. I'm saying all this and nothing is being written. Grinning with a small laugh escaping Rick's lips, buddy, you're barking up the wrong tree. Oh, you thought I was talking to you? Robin looks over to Amanda, who has been standing there the entire time watching this go on. I was talking to your boss. The guards put handcuffs on Robin. You know my price. We later find Rick and Amanda in a private office, with Rick going over each and every file of the demigods she wants to use. He doesn't like it. Maybe it is the Roman in him, or the military in him. He doesn't know and doesn't want to know. But he doesn't like letting them loss out into the world when they can do so much harm. It's probably the Roman in him, since all the demigods are Greek. Romans are taught to work as a unit. You are only your strongest with your weakest member. The Greeks are more on the light of the wild cowboy and do as they please. I don't like this one bit, Rick confessed to his boss. I know that, but they can get the job down. The faster they take down Luke Castellan, the fast we end this war. I just don't like this. Have you even looked at some of them? Reyes and the son of Hades. Yes, I have looked at it. I even know someone of them personally because we went to Camp Half-Blood together with them. Why is this bothering you? This isn't like you, Rick. Is it because they're Greek? No, that doesn't have anything to do with it. They do as they please. That's what. Amanda stops talking as she felt something. Not just Amanda, but the rest of the demigods in Bel Rev felt it. A god has died, faded away from existence, to never reform again. Pan, the god of the wild, is no more. The demigod of Athena knows that the rest of the gods of Olympus felt that too. While Pan was a minor god, he was still a powerful minor god. Mount Olympus. With Pan fading away, Zeus called for the Olympians to return to Mount Olympus. It quickly became chaotic, as it is very rare for a god to fade away. For they always left their names somewhere where people would know who they were, and what they did, and can do. With Pan gone, Cronus will move his forces even faster, Athena explained. We must act now. Yes, Zeus agrees with his daughter. Have the demigods head to Camp Half-Blood and have them help out with the defensive for the upcoming battle. Dionysus sighs as he has to take care of the demigods, most likely when where will they sleep? I don't think the Half-Bloods will want them sleeping in the same cabins when they learn just how powerful they are. They will stay at my cabin. Hera spoke up. My cabin was made just for the demigods should they ever return to Camp Half-Blood. Nodding to his wife, very well. It's time for the demigods to fight in this war. Cheruboni Parish, Louisiana. All of Bel Rev is in an uproar. Throughout the prison, the alarm has been sounding off for the last half hour. Guards rush down the hallways in full riot gear. A group of guards stop in front of Robin's cell. Robin, who has been hearing the alarm going off for the last half hour, and has been watching guards running up and down the hallways. He prepares when the door to his cell opens up and guards rush in and beat him down before slapping a pair of handcuffs on him and throwing the demigod of Apollo in a chair. Straps are placed on him before wheeling him down the hallway. Several flashbangs are thrown in Gabriel's cell. With the demigod of Hades being blinded, the guards quickly rushed in and strap him to a chair and wheels him out of his cell and down the hallway. Over at Pamela's cell, plant killer is sprayed in her cell. Now the plant killer doesn't kill Pamela, but it does make her work. Easy for the guards to come in and strap her to a chair, before wheeling her off. Gino's cell is flooded full of water before pouring out with him in it, where he too is strapped to a chair and wheeled off. And finally, Naruto's cell had knockout gas released, causing him to pass out from the gas. Each of the demigods were escorted to a group of doctors that primed, armed, and injected each of them with explosives into their necks. From there they were escorted to a plane that took off shortly afterwards. Camp Half-Blood. Percy and Annabeth haven't been back at camp for very long to see the whole camp is gearing up for battle. Luke has found a way into camp and will have his army attack with monsters and half-bloods that have betrayed them. They turned their heads to watch as several black vans pull up in the main entrance. The campers rush over thinking that they're being under attack already, if not for Chiron galloping over. "Mr. Burner, what's going on?" Percy asked. "Are they with Luke?" "No, they are reinforcements." The trainer of heroes gained a grim look on his face, though I figured they'd still be locked up. Locked up? This time it was Annabeth that asked, "Who are they? And why were they locked up?" "Demigods," that was the only thing Chiron said before galloping off to make sure the rest of the camp doesn't attack them. Annabeth's eyes widened as she heard of them, but never thought she'd actually get to see one. The tales and stories that she read, they weren't heroes like the others, for they didn't see the gain in doing the heroic stuff, for they have too much power. Demigods? Percy turned to the daughter of Athena. "I thought that's what we were." "We are seaweed brain, but they are the demigods." They watch as the demigods are loaded out of the vans wearing their prison uniforms and restraints, while half-bloods gain abilities and powers from their parents. Demigods gain so much more. How much more? Enough to replace said god if they fade away. Just like Pan. That made Percy's eyes widen as he remembers the god. And how he waited as long as he could for Grover to appear for him. Percy has to wonder how powerful they really, since they are in prison uniforms and restraints. Rick stands there with his team as the demigods are released from their restraints. He takes a minute to look around, for this is the first time he's ever been in Camp Half-Blood. The son of Mars only heard around the camp from the other half-bloods that work at Bel Rev. How it was more of a camp than it was a place for training. Yes, they do train and learn to control what abilities they gain from their godly parent, but it was more fun time than anything else. While at New Rome the Romans learned how to fight and take what they learned and use it outside if they wish to leave New Rome down the road. He can say that Camp Half-Blood is peaceful, but for how long? Alright, Rick says out loud, grabbing not just the demigod's attention, but the campers' attention too. "My name is Rick Johnson, and I am your god. I am in charge of you lot and you will follow my orders." Holding up an iPod, "This holds your lives. You may remember being injected before leaving Bel Rev. In your necks is a small explosive that is the size of rice, but with enough power to lose your heads. If you don't follow my orders, you die. If you try to run, you die. You do something that I don't like, you die. Death, 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 and some more death. How very Roman of you." Naruto says out loud, knowing full well what it might cause. "Are you sure you want to kill us?" "I have my orders, and I follow them to the T." Rick walks over to Naruto. "I know that you want to live for your daughter. So follow my orders and everything goes smoothly." Well, when you put it that way, the son of Aphrodite agrees with the son of Mars. So why are we here? Walking back in front of everyone, making sure their eyes are on him. Cronus is going to attack Camp Half-Blood and it is our job to help and defend the camp. That's why you're all here. So, what? Robin spoke up. For one, he doesn't like this idea one bit. And two, he really doesn't like this idea. We're some type of suicide squad? That's right. And that's not all. I would like you to meet my second in command, Michelle K. Davis, the demigod of Ares. Fuck. Naruto simple says, for he knows who is she. Naruto starts to sweat, for he still remembers Michelle. She went to camp at the same time as Naruto and Amanda did. Walking towards them is a tall woman with chin-length blonde hair and blue eyes, all the while wearing a pair of glasses. She is wearing a uniform just like the other squad members of Rick's team. Naruto knows that while she may seem slim, her body is more of a boxer with slightly bulky muscles. "Naruto, it's good to see you again after all these years," she greeted her old friend. "Why yeah, it is. I didn't know you started to work for Amanda. When did this happen?" "A few years ago, but that is not the time nor here for this to be said." Soon shortly afterwards footlockers were brought out. These footlockers have what the demigods had on them when they've been captured. Naruto opens his footlockers, pull out two short swords. One is made out of steel, and the other made out of celestial bronze. Next he pulls out his clothes and changes right there in front of everyone. He is the son of Aphrodite, so he doesn't care if people see his body. The female campers and the few the bat for the other team again stop to stare as Naruto changes. Putting on a pair of pants that has several pockets, a pair of simple Converse orange, of course, an orange shirt with the word "Opai" on it. and to tie everything off is a black jacket that has the holsters for his short swords. Looking up as everyone is staring at him, "What?" he asked, and everyone went back doing what they were doing. And just as quickly everyone went back to doing what they were doing beforehand. Genos takes out two armor and pulls them up his arms like sleeves, venting his flames into the armor that causes the vents to open up and glow bright red. Steam and the intense heat can be seen and felt by those who are walking the closest to the demigod of Hephaestus. The only ones not bothered by it are the half-bloods from said god. Genos takes out a small case, opens it to reveal contacts, which he places in his eyes. Readings and data come up giving him information about his output for his heat and flames. Gabriel put on a chest piece, armor leggings, steel toe boots, gauntlets, and a skull-shaped mask to make himself look like death is walking among them. The demigod of Hades picked up 2 shotguns before loading them up full of shotgun shells. Reyes can already feel the stares as they know a son of Hades when they seen one. He knows he has a little brother running around here somewhere, he just doesn't know where. Robin, who had the heaviest footlocker, takes out several weapons from pistols to rifles. Out of all the rifles Robin takes out, he chosen an M4 carbine with a grenade launcher attachment along with a scope. The demigod of Apollo put on a red uniform that holds several magazines, 2 sidearms, and several grenades. All in all, he looks like he is going to war, which is in the most part is true. And then there is Pamela. Her footlocker only has clothes and dirt in it. She changes into simple clothing that leaves her skin exposed to sunlight. Reaching down to take a handful of dirt, the dirt falls between her fingers to reveal seeds of different shapes, sizes, and colors before she puts some of the seeds in her hair, pockets, and other places that she can find. "Naruto," Michelle called out to said blonde. Turning to the demigod of Ares, "Yeah, Michelle? It wanted to know how you were doing. It's been a few years since we'd last seen each other. I take it you're doing well." "Oh, you know me. Running and causing problems when I see fit. Showing my little girl just how much of a badass her old man is." Naruto brags just like little. Being the son of Aphrodite makes it easy for brag about things from something so little it doesn't matter, to something so huge the world could know it. This give the children of Apollo a run for their money when it comes to bragging. Though all children of the gods have this. "That's right, you have a daughter. How is she?" Michelle asked, since the last she'd seen Naruto's daughter was when she was a baby. "I hope you didn't leave her somewhere that isn't protected." "No, I made Artemis take an oath of the River of Styx to take care of her, and to make sure that she doesn't take that stupid oath to forever remain a child forever," explained the blonde. That's one thing Naruto would never want his daughter to take. The stupid oath of Artemis doesn't do any good. It causes problems in more ways than one. One of them being they'll attack any male, be they boy and man, and turn them into a jackal. Another problem is when the hunters visit Camp Half-Blood, it always leave a bad taste for the campers because of the capture the flag that's always held when they visit. One time a son of Hermes didn't like how the hunters treated everyone in camp, so he pranked them, and in turn they'd burn the camp down to the ground. Artemis did face some punishment for their actions. Just because the hunters spend so much time around a goddess, they believe they can get away with just about anything. "So how have you been doing? Kicking ass and taking names like always?" joked the blonde. "Been working hard?" That is one thing about Michelle, and that she is a hard worker. Shortly after she left Camp Half-Blood, she joined the military and worked her way up the ranks, becoming a lieutenant by the age of 21. From there she was hired by Amanda to help out with the capture of demigods and the likes. Always working hard. "Unlike you, Naruto, I want to never my name behind." She pushed up her glasses. That is one thing that all half-bloods and demigods want. They want their names to be left behind so that future generations can know who they are. "And why would I do that?" Waving his hands around like he just doesn't care around a thing in the whole world. "I already left something behind. And that's my daughter. So I really don't have to leave anything behind since I have her." "You say that like it's a good thing. I had one drunk night with Amanda. I thought we had something, but guess I was wrong." "Find anyone you want to spend the rest of your life with?" "No, I'm married to my job. I don't want any relationships." "Really?" A frown made its way on his face. "Why do you say that?" "Because the one I want is standing in front of me, but you can't see me." Michelle thought to herself. It pained the demigod of Ares to see someone she loves, but can't say a thing about it. The history between has always been on a rocky road. Many campers believe the bad blood between the children of Ares and the children of Athena are always grand and will never end, but that isn't true. The bad blood is between the children of Ares and the children of Aphrodite. There is an unspoken rule around camp and no one says it, but everyone knows it. And that unspoken rule is to never bring up how the fathers of the children of Aphrodite died. Because many campers believe that Ares goes out of his way and kill anyone that sleep with the goddess of love. During Naruto's time at camp, one of Ares' sons said it out loud to insult one of the newer campers. Well, let's just say it didn't end well. Flashback. A son of Ares in on his knees holding his tongue while he bleeds out. Standing in before him is Naruto glaring at the son of Ares. You cut out your own tongue so you may never speak those words again, but I think I need to leave another reminder. Cut your own off, commands Naruto. The blonde watches the son of Ares stands up, undo his pants, takes a knife and cuts into himself. The cries of pain echoes throughout Camp Half-Blood. No does anything as they just stand there and watch. Standing behind Naruto is a little girl who is crying that just came to camp for the first time because her father was killed by a monster. What type of monster nobody knows, though only a few really knew. One of the more arrogant children of Ares came over to her and said that Ares killed her father and that she was next. Naruto was close by when he heard this and commanded the son of Ares to cut out his own tongue. This sparked a real problem up on Mount Olympus for several different reasons. One of them being a demigod used his powers to force another half-blood to take his own life, because the son of Ares bleed out from his injuries. Another reason because one of Ares' kids died. Saying the god of war was pissed would be an understatement. Aphrodite didn't really care what happened to Ares' kids, for in her words he'd gotten off easy. All in all, a shitstorm happened that caused the plans for Belle Reve to be built. Flashback end. Both Naruto and Michelle stand there staring at each other. They ran out of stuff to say to one another some time ago and just have been standing there staring. This is one of the hardest things they both had to do all day. Well, I better get going and make sure that Captain Rick needs me, Michelle quickly says. Alright. Naruto rubs the back of his head. I better make sure that the rest of the demigods are all ready for when the fight starts. Gabriel and Genos, who have been standing there for the last 5 minutes, watches as it became painful to watch how Naruto and Michelle talk to each other. So it continues with Ares going off to kill Aphrodite's lovers that she takes to her bed. Said Reaper. Even during his time, Ares did the same thing. Some of the half-bloods were starting to call Ares the god of jealousy for every time one of Aphrodite's lovers died. And with it continuing to this very day, one has to think that the goddess of love is plotting something for all the death and grief he's brought her. It's sad, really. Ares was considered to be what men strive to be like. Strong, powerful, able to have any women he'd so desired. But now, said God was something you never wanted to be. All that power amounts to nothing if people don't want to be like you. Yes, it is a shame that very during modern times jealousy leads up to do terrible things. Genos agrees with the demigod of Hades. It very made sense to him why the god of war always attacked and killed the goddess of love's lovers. It just doesn't make sense. There are people wonder why the Lady of Doves haven't caused Ares pain yet. Most likely waiting for the perfect chance to strike. Revenge is best served cold. Come on, let's go before either one of them sees us. Genos nods and heads to where the battle is going to take place. They didn't have to wait long for the battle to begin. The battle taking place at Zeus's fist. A rock formation that looks like a fist. Half-bloods and all types of monsters rush out of the labyrinth. One of the most common monsters are the Scythian Dracena, female reptilian monsters with some humanistic features. The original Scythian Dracena stole Hercules' horses and offered to return them to him if he slept with her. Which he did and had 3 sons because of it. Genos raises his hand, venting out heat before firing large blasts of flames. He makes sure to aim where that aren't any half-bloods in the area. The last thing he wanted was to open fire on allies. A lucky Scythian Dracena comes up close and tries to cut the demigod of Hephaestus in half, only for the blade to be blocked by a short sword coming out of Genos' forearm. Did you really think I'd only used flames? Genos asked the Scythian Dracena, even though he doesn't give her enough time to say anything because he cuts her in half. Genos made sure to have blades placed in his armor so he would be able to fight up close and personal. He learned this the hard way a few years ago when a hellhound came to close and damaged his armor. Genos is still the son of Hephaestus. He is still a worker and makes sure to always make better equipment. Reaper laughs as he walks through the battlefield shooting any Scythian Dracena that stand in his way. This is too easy for him as they don't stand a chance. During his travel Reaper collected a lot of celestial bronze, melted it and turned it into pellets and placed those pellets into shotgun shells, seeping into the shadows before reappearing right in the middle of a group of Scythian Dracena and opens fire by spinning around. Reaper stops when he hears something. "Why are you listening to me?" Turning to see his younger brother Nico D'Angelo. Surrounding Nico are several undead warriors that aren't listened to him. That shouldn't be right since all of Hades' children can make the dead do as they please. Crossing his arms to sink into the ground and to come up out of the ground in front of Nico. "What are you doing?" growled out Reaper. They're skeleton warriors that were formed by dragon's teeth. They can't be killed. Wrong. Reaper knew these skeleton warriors. These creatures were known as Spartois and were created by planting teeth of a dragon sacred to Ares that was killed by Cadmus. Once the hero removed the teeth from the fallen monster, he planted them in black soil and plowed the land with a breed of ox that was rumored to have extremely thick armor plating. When this was done, from every tooth in the ground, a warrior clad in full Greek armor would burst from the earth. Cadmus later threw a jewel in the recently created Spartois to determine who was the strongest, and only 5 survived the fighting. Those 5 later helped build the city of Thebes, and many of its inhabitants were descended from them. Reaper blows off the head of one, before shooting another. The demigod of Hades watches as they reform without the damage that he just done. Growling at this Reaper has shadows spread out and surround the skeleton warriors. The shadows grab hold of them and soon all the skeleton warriors were dragged into the ground. What did you do to them?" Nico asked the man wearing the skull mask. "I'd sent them to be placed on ice, and that's what Reaper did. Now the skeleton warriors are now located in the Arctic. It will take them a long time before they can even come back." "Who are you?" the son of Hades asked without realizing that he's talking to his older brother. "The name's Reaper, and I too am a son of Hades. Watch your back." Nico didn't get to say anything else as he watches Reaper takes the form of what would be a wraith. The younger brother watches as the enemy tried and failed to do any damage to Reaper. "I have an older brother?" Nico asked himself. This is a shock to him as Nico only thought he had a sister who is now dead. But some hope comes to his eyes as he has family. All the while the same thing is going through Reaper's mind. He knew about his younger brother and sister, but didn't go to them. The war made sure of that. He learned that his younger sister, Bianca D'Angelo, abandoned their brother so that she could join Artemis's hunters only to be killed a few days later. Reaper knows that Artemis somehow tricked her, and didn't fully tell what it meant to be a hunter. The son of Hades would have acted quickly, but just before he could Artemis captured him and was thrown into Bel Rev. Robin took a nice place away from all the fighting and is looking through his scope. He has a bird's eye view of the whole fight. The campers of Camp Half-Blood are holding the line and is slowly, but surely pushing back. It is only a matter of time before this battle is over. The demigod of Apollo takes aim and fires with Half-Blood dying from a headshot. That's another thing that Robin has noticed as the battle rages on. There are more Half-Bloods on the enemy side making themselves known. Nothing standing out right at the gate since more of the enemy forces are monsters. He looks around and notices that one of the Half-Bloods is acting strange. Filing that away for this might be the traitor they were supposed to capture. Pamela sighs as another rose bush captured an enemy Half-Blood. This was the 12th one that tried to attack her. The demigod of Demeter doesn't want to be here. She wants to protect the earth from forests being destroyed, landscapes that are being destroyed, but not here. Pamela remembers the time she'd spent here at Camp Half-Blood and didn't like it here. Yes, it was beautiful, but she never did fit in because of her powers. Pamela just wants this to be over. On the other side of the battlefield near the entrance to the labyrinth, Naruto stabs another Half-Blood in the chest. He spent the last 30 minutes fighting more and more Half-Bloods, but they just keep coming. He sighs as this just feels right, killing so many of their own kind, but this is why they've been brought here. Naruto was going to kill another Half-Blood when he stops to stare at the entrance of the labyrinth. He can feel it. Something is coming. Something powerful is coming. Kicking the Half-Blood away to focus on the entrance. A fiery swings out followed by a hiss. It doesn't help that there are several monsters that are reptiles. But he doesn't have to wait for long as a serpent creature comes out walking on 2 legs. Wielding a fiery whip in one hand and a scimitar in the other with another scimitar hanging from her hip. Naruto can smell wisps of vapor that smelled sour and can feel heat from where he is standing. The blonde knows who this is. This is Camp, the jailer for the giants, the Cyclops, and the Hecatonchires during Kronos' rule, before Zeus freed them and started the first Titanomacy. Camp was the first foe that Zeus destroyed with his new Master Bolt. It would make sense that Camp would side with Kronos once again. "Rick," called out Naruto. "I need the key to my mask," but his voice is drowned out from all the fighting. Camp eyed Naruto before grinning, showing her sharp fangs. Naruto blocks a swing from her scimitar. The fiery whip cracks as it hits Naruto across the chest. He jumps away with small flames burning through his shirt and his skin burned. Turning and running away from Camp. The blonde knows he can't fight with Camp without his charm speaking. The reason behind this simple for Camp was the jailer for Kronos, thus making her powerful. "Rick," cried out Naruto once more. But he didn't have to wait for Michelle comes crashing down, burying her fist into Camp. Michelle is wearing 2 giant gauntlets that easily weigh several hundred pounds. "I've come to save you," Naruto stated the demigod of Ares. "I need the key to my mask so I can use my charm speaking." "That's Camp. Yes, I know who this is." Jackson and Chase said the Camp was told Hecatonchires captured just like during Kronos' rule. "I knew she would appear. That's good and all, but I need the key." Once again Naruto shouted out the 3rd time. "Hey!" Naruto catches a key and quickly undo the lock with the mask falling off shortly afterwards. Taking in fresh air to breath in the burning smell of wood, metal, and flesh. "Stop," and with one simple word all the fighting stops. "Monsters of Kronos, kill yourselves." And they do. Half-bloods of Kronos, lay down your arms and surrender. And just like the others they follow Naruto's orders. "I never get tried how you always do that," Michelle stated. "I think Camp needs to be ended, Michelle." "Right." And she does so by taking hold of her head and crushed Camp's head, leaving behind the fiery whip. The demigod of Aphrodite quickly takes it for having 2 daggers is good and all, but having a long-range weapon as well is even better. Rick and his team captured all the half-bloods that fought for Kronos and had them sent to Bel Rev. While Bel Rev was built for demigods, it is the perfect place to send half-bloods since this is war. The campers were shocked at how quickly and effectively the demigods were during the battle. They didn't waste any moves or energy and knew what they were doing. They were happy they're on their side. "Wow," stated Percy as he just stares at them. "I didn't know they were that powerful. They're demigods for a reason. It just shows just how powerful they are. But the one over there, Naruto, I think they said his name was. That is one powerful charm speaking." Charm speaking? An ability from Aphrodite that she gives to some of her children. Anything they say has to be followed. Though it only works on the opposite gender. For it to work on the same gender as him, and on such a large crowd, that is really scary. "I know what you mean. I couldn't move when he said stop. Why is that so powerful? I thought all of Aphrodite's children were, well, weak?" And what Percy said was kind of true. Most if not all of Aphrodite's children don't train. They only worry about what to wear, their makeup getting messed up, and other things like that. Well, besides Selena Beauregard, some are, but there are a few black sheep of Aphrodite's children. I need to see who he is. And with that Annabeth runs off to her cabin to look up Naruto just to see how powerful he is. Percy was left standing there. He blinks a few times before heading back to his cabin to rest. He didn't get to ask about the other demigods before she ran off to research the demigod of Aphrodite. He can say for one thing, and he is glad they're on their side. "Are you sure you saw that, Robin?" Rick asked the demigod of Apollo. "I know what I saw. There is no mistaking that. I found the traitor without even looking." "How can you be sure that was the traitor?" Rick wants to make sure before the traitor was captured, as it could spell disaster if they're wrong. "I know what I saw." The look of terror on her face said it all. She wasn't expecting the fight to become like that. If anything, she wasn't expecting a battle at all. "So what are you saying? That the traitor didn't know that a battle would start up?" "That's what I'm saying. I'd say we have Naruto to bring it out of her. Why she betrayed the gods and all her friends. Make it seem like it was against her will. It might have been against her will." Robin looks at Rick strangely. Luke Castellan could have easily talked her into it. I know for one that Mercury's children could talk their way out of anything if they work hard enough for it. I'm sure Hermes' kids are the same. You're right about that. Robin remembers all the times he was conned out of his money during poker games back when he was going to Camp Half-Blood. Punishment? If she was tricked into being a spy, a few years in Bel Rev. If she was a traitor willingly, death. Bring in Naruto? Robin asked once more. Yeah, Rick Simple says. The wound were mostly brought to Apollo's cabin for healing since the big house was full. There were a few deaths on their side. 25 campers died from fighting, killed by being distracted, or trying to help another half-blood. All in all, the death toll could have been higher if Naruto didn't use his charm speaking to end the fight sooner. Hello, everyone, Rick made himself known to everyone. You may be wondering why we came here. That is simple really, we're here to kill Luke Castellan and end this war sooner. But we've came across some information that Castellan has a spy in this camp. All the campers look at one another as they can't believe one of them would betray the camp. Though we have a way to find out how that spy is. Waving over to Naruto. This here is Naruto Uzumaki, the demigod of Aphrodite. He has the strongest charm-speaking ability in history. He was also the one that ended the fighting so soon. Naruto, if you may, take out your blades and hold them to your throats, and just as Naruto said that all the half-bloods who have their weapons still took them out and hold the blades to their throats, I will count to the number 3 and well. You know what will happen. You may try to resist, but it would do you no good. The only one who has enough power to break out of my charm speaking is my mother, Aphrodite. I want the spy to come forth and come clean. The injured campers couldn't do anything since their wounds prevented from doing anything about what was going to happen. 1. The ones holds the weapons to their very own throats try with all their might to break free, but can't. They were about to die and without even fighting a monster. They were going to die because they had a spy at camp. 2. The ones who didn't have any weapons just stood there as they didn't know if the ones holding weapons would kill themselves if they did a way thing. Stop. Everyone looks over to Selena. She came forth and stands in front of Naruto. Please. I am the spy, confessed the daughter of Aphrodite. Luke just told me to tell him what is happening at camp. I thought he just wanted to know what was happening because he couldn't come back for some time. That's what Selena truly thought. Luke was the most handsome boy at camp, and just like that she wanted him. Selena doesn't know if she liked him because of how he is, or if it was her mother's blood acting up. When Luke started talking to her and spent time with her, the daughter of Aphrodite thought Luke wanted to go out. But she was wrong. She was so very wrong. Luke said that he was going away and couldn't return to camp for some time, so he asked her if anything changed, let him know through the bracelet that he gave her. Selena heard that Luke has been on edge with the gods and was attacking them, but never did she thought like something like this. Now that Selena has firsthand seen what Luke is willing to go through. She knew. The daughter of Aphrodite knew that Luke used her to plan out his attacks. It cost the lives of a few campers. You were wrong, said Naruto. Did you know he was going to attack? No, I didn't know. I swear on the river of Styx that I didn't know Luke was going to attack the camp. Everyone heard the thunder in the distance, showing that she is telling the truth. Rick didn't have to be told anymore. He comes around and places Selena's hands behind her back and handcuff her. What's going to happen to me? She asked as tears start to fall down her face. You'll be going to Bel Rev. There you'll be questioned further and will be there for a few years before you'll be released. And from there, I have no idea. You lucky that Luke tricked you, otherwise death would have been your punishment. Everyone just stands there as Rick takes Selena away. They don't know what to say as she was the spy. They couldn't believe what they just heard. Selena was the spy that gave Luke information that led to the attack on the camp. Friends died. Family died. The campers may have won the battle, but they did lose in the end. Mount O3s. Why did we lose that battle? Asked Kronos as successfully taken over Luke Castellan's body. I thought our forces were strong enough? They were, brother, but there was some unforeseen help, Hyperion said in his glory as a body of flames wearing a suit of armor. The gods of Olympus let loose their demigods. Koyos, why haven't you seen this? Kronos asked the Lord of the North and Titan of Farsight. I wasn't able to see that. Koyos frowns at this. This isn't the first time his Farsight has failed him. The only one time that his Farsight failed him when Zeus attacked Mount O3s and freed his brothers and sisters. I can't see into the future anymore. Once was set in stone, now I only see a storm. This doesn't sound very good, Hyperion says. We've heard the tales of the demigods. Beings that would take the positions of their gold parent should something were to happen to them. But dear brother, I have a plan. What is this plan? Kronos asked since Hyperion is second in command. I have 2 new soldiers that will just fight fine against the demigods. The Titan of the East turned to his right. You can come out now. Kronos watches as 2 people walk into view with a smile making its way across his face. Yes, with these 2 the second Titanomachy. The Titan of Time will have his golden age back and he will make sure that nothing like this is going to happen again. And who are they? Asked Cronus since while he doesn't know the half-bloods personally, he does know them from Luke Castellan's memories. More half-bloods? No, dear brother, said Koyos as he walks over to them and stands between the 2. These 2 are demigods. To my right is Garo, the demigod of Heracles. Placing a hand on Garo's shoulder, and to my right is my very own son, Charlotte Katakuri. Garo is tall for his age with blonde spiky hair that splits in middle giving 2 horns. He is wearing a tight-fitting long-sleeve shirt and baggy pants while only wearing spill-on shoes. While Garo isn't carrying any weapons, one can tell by his muscles and the scars on his knuckles he likes to take things up close and personal. Charlotte is very taller than Garo and is almost the same height as his father. If one were to call Charlotte a biker they would be right. An open vest showing off a few tattoos with a white fluffy scarf wrapped around his neck and covering the bottom of his face. Black leather pants with a knee brace on his left knees. And to finish it all off he is wearing black biker boots. Charlotte is also wielding a trident. A demigod, Koyos? Cronus says while he is looking at these 2. He can feel the power coming off of them. Garo has the same aura that Hercules has, but the look on his face is that of boredom. Charlotte is giving off the same aura as Koyos, and the Titan of Time has to wonder if Koyos has the ability to see into the future. When did you have a son? 48 years ago Charlotte was born. He may have mortal blood running through veins, he is powerful in combat. How so? He uses his ability Farsight to see what his opponent is going to do next. Charlotte is always one step of everyone. And Garo? His strength rivals that of his father's, but unlike his father, Garo here learned martial arts to use the strength where it counts. Grinning at this, with this we'll win the war. Koyos, can your son see that we'll win? I cannot, my lord, spoke out Charlotte with a deep voice. I can only use Farsight in combat, and nothing more. Frowning at a useful ability falling short. Koyos's Farsight is one of Cronus's strongest support in war as it lets him know where his enemies are going to attack, where their ambushes are located, where supply lines running, and other great useful information. Koyos, do you know why your Farsight isn't working? Cronus asked once more as that ability is too useful. No, dear brother. I think it has something to do with the demigods on the Olympian side. Growling at this, but doesn't let his anger grab hold of him. Cronus calms down. Very well then. Have our troops run operations and skirmishes. Camp Half-Blood. Camp Moral is at an all-time lower with Selena's betrayal coming to light. Learning that one of the counselors was feeding information to the enemy that caused so much death. Everyone is eating at the dining pavilion in silence. Talk about a mood killer, said Naruto as he is eating without a care in the world. How can you say that? Robin asked since Naruto was the one that forced Selena to come clean. Easy, like this, he slowly takes a bit out the ribs he's eating. The harpies know how to make some of the best barbecue. I think what Robin is saying, how can you not be sad that it was your younger sister that was the traitor? Genos said with his making a few repairs to his armor. She made her choice, even if she was fooled. There is nothing that we really can do about it. Just like Amanda not wanting to take care of her daughter. Little Lucy is so sweet. I even have pictures. What to see? Sure, Michelle says since she remembers seeing the little girl as a baby. Naruto quickly takes out a few hundred photos showing Lucy in different clothing from cute little dresses, little onis, and costumes. Michelle can say that Lucy is a little angel. Bright blonde hair and big bright blue eyes. She has a slight dark skin tone from Amanda, but everything else is from Naruto. She even have whiskers on her cheeks. While this was going on, Annabeth was staring at Naruto. It took her some time, but she found out about Naruto. During his time at camp, Naruto had the most wins for capture the flag because of his charm-speaking ability. And when it was banned and learned to use short swords and kept on winning. It showed that he just didn't stay with one thing and went with it. He started dating Amanda Weller during their final years at camp before leaving to do who knows what. He also killed a few campers by making them kill themselves with his charm speaking. All in all, she learned that he didn't act like a normal son of Aphrodite. But what she found about his first 6 years is that Aphrodite herself took care of her son. That's right, the goddess of love took care of her very own son. Something like that never happened before. There are still a lot of rumors about why she took care of him herself, but several make sense and a few that are just way out there. One of the rumors that make the most sense is that Aphrodite found her soulmate and he was killed before Naruto was born, thus forcing her to take care of him, but the gods gotten wind of it and forced her to leave her son. The only child of a god to be raised by their godly parent before being forced to leave him behind. It makes you wonder about the other rumor of Ares killing Aphrodite's lovers off is really true. Thought Annabeth. Annabeth is brought out of train of thought when she along with everyone else watches as Nico makes his way up to the demigods. No one has gotten near, let alone talked to any of them since Selena was taken away. Nico standing is front of Gabriel. He bites his lip not knowing what to say to his older brother. Sure he had an older sister, but always made sure he didn't get into any trouble. With her gone it was just him, now he has someone to talk to. Are you going to ask something, or are you going to stand there all day? Said Reaper as he just continues to eat his food. Are you really a son of Hades? Nico asked the million-dollar question. Yes, Gabriel simply says, I am a son of Hades. I don't think that is the only thing you'd wanted to ask, is it? And no, I wanted to know where were you? I was hiding in the shadows. I mastered shadow travel to the point that I stopped aging when I'm using them. Stars appear in Nico's eyes as he could only travel so far with shadow travel and it left him drained to the point he nearly passes out. Nico starts to wonder if he could ask his brother to help him with his powers. See, can you help me with my powers? Maybe learn to control them better? That is one thing none of the campers really have. They don't have someone there teaching them how to use what powers they gain from their godly parent. The older and former campers don't want anything to do with the camp itself. Like they don't want to show their family. Reaper thinks it over and nods his head. Sure, why not? He stands up, grabs Nico and let the shadows take them. I wonder where they went. Genos was the one to ask the question that was on everyone's mind. Michelle stands up and walks over to her cabin. After watching Gabriel take his younger brother to train, Michelle thought of the same thing. Those of Ares' cabin always are on the front lines. So it makes sense that she teach them how to fight, and have more experience for the coming war. Who is the counselor for Cabin 5? The demigod of Ares asked the whole table. I am. Clarice quickly stand to her feet. I am the counselor for Cabin 5. This brought a smile to Michelle's face. It was no secret that Ares prefers sons over daughters. You'd think being the god of war wouldn't make you think like that, but you have to remember how the gods were back then, and how the world was back then too. A father wanted a son so that their name could be taken to the next generation to show that they were here. Because their sons can become warriors that will make a name for themselves that will be remembered along with their father. While the world has changed, Ares didn't with that phase of thinking. The only daughters he takes the time to look after are the Amazons. No one talks about the Amazons because how they treat men. Hell, not even Artemis would treat men like that, and she turns them into jackalopes. The men that the Amazons keep are nothing more than pleasure slaves for give them and children. Come with me for I've got a lot to teach you. The whole table rushes off to learn from Michelle. It's not every day you'd learn from a demigod. Robin, who's watched both Gabriel and Michelle take their cabins to train them so they don't die so easily in war, looks over to his cabin. Robin can say he loved his cabin while he was here, but the son of Apollo became bitter after what his ex-wife did. Frowning at most likely the only healers in the whole camp besides the satyr. Right. Standing up and marches over to his cabin. You lot. Come with me for I'm going to teach you how to firing a fucking bow like your lives matter. And just like with Cabin 5, Cabin 7 ran off to be trained by Robin. Naruto looks over to see Genos already going over to Cabin 9. The blonde looks around for Pamela, but she already disappeared. He turns to see his old cabin staring at him. Run around the whole camp till you drop, was what Naruto says before going back to see his meal. All of Cabin 10 do as they're told. Sir? Desmond asked his commanding officer, should we just let them run off like that? No, but I'll allow it, Rick said with him looking at his iPod. They know what will happen if they try anything. Besides, look at it this way. The camp will most likely survive with the campers being trained to use what powers they have. Yeah, they could use that. That Roman side of you is coming out. You'd better watch it or Cabin 6 will catch wind that there's an enemy here. Cabin 6? Turned to raise an eyebrow. Athena, remember what the Romans did to her? Desmond says with a clear smirk on his face. I remember. I also remember that the one who sacked her temple was a son of Neptune. Oh, this is just too good to be true. The rivalry between Athena and Poseidon go back to when Athens took Athena as their patron, to when Poseidon raped Medusa in Athena's temple. If Athena ever learns that a son of Neptune, Poseidon's Roman counterpart, was the one that led the sacking of her temple, I think there is going to be another war. If I was a child of Hermes, I don't know what I'd do with that type of information. I'd probably blackmail Poseidon. Blackmailing a god is dangerous and stupid. Leak bits of the information and say nothing about it. If you don't know anything about it, you didn't do it. Stated Rick. He is a son of Mars. Warfare is what he knows best. Using information that could harm one of the strongest Greek gods even further because they can't keep their cool. Rick knows the gods would just smite someone because their anger gets the better of them, and then some. Even more so of those of Zeus's line. Mount Olympus. The gods have been in meeting since the battle has ended at Camp Half-Blood. Yes, it saddened them a few of their children died during the battle. It showed just how powerful Naruto Uzumaki, the demigod of Aphrodite, truly is, with him stopping the battle so quickly when his mask came off. I have to say the demigods did a fine job in defending the camp, said Zeus with him stroking his beard. They knew how to use the powers. They are older, spoke up Apollo, so of course they would end the battle so quickly. Bah, there wasn't enough blood, shouted out Ares. I wanted the battle to go on as twice as long. Ares, punch yourself in the nuts, Aphrodite commanded the god of war to do, and he did. Oh, Naruto, you just keep growing more and more powerful. To command so many people at once. Yes, that ability is truly strong, stated Athena, but are we sure this is a good idea? I believe you were the one that brought up this plan, Athena, Poseidon says as he loves it when Athena has second thoughts about her plans. The deaths could have been double what they were if they weren't there. I know I'd said that, but I believe my demigod is planning something. The way she had everything all set was too quickly to just have been done at the last minute. What, you'd think your demigod is planning something? Hermes asked, since this isn't the first time demigods have tried something on the gods. It was one of the reasons why Bel Rev was built in the first place. I don't know, but I have a gut feeling that she's planning something, explained Athena. We'll just deal with it if it comes. Apollo shrugs his should as they should face one thing at a time. What about those that are being sent to Bel Rev? That was over 100 half-bloods captured. Bel Rev was made for demigods. So having the half-bloods there won't be a problem. The dampening fields will make them powerless, Hephaestus explained, since he was the one that made the dampening fields. What about the spy? Ares spoke up with a bag of ice on his nuts. Have we learned anything about what information she gave up? Did she willingly betray us? No, Selena Beauregard was charmed and thought her actions were saving lives. Athena stated what most of the gods were thinking. Another ability that your son has there, Hermes. What can I say? Hermes throws up his arms in protest. How should I known that Luke would betray us like this? Apollo? What? Don't look at me. I can see things, but not everything. Every god looks at the god of prophecy, for he should be able to see everything. Hey, I can see most things, but something is blocking me. How is something blocking you? Artemis asked her brother, since she knows how he likes to use that ability of his to cheat. Not enough virgins. Cute, Artie, real cute, he says with a sour look upon his face. No, something powerful is blocking me from seeing the future. I don't know what. I would look for Python to slay once more to be able to see into the future to see if we win this war. But that snake hasn't reformed since Woodstock. Python is extremely powerful, so it would make sense if that snake didn't reform just yet, Athena stated, because it is a fact that the more powerful the monster, the longer it would take to reform after it has been slain. Apollo waves her off. No, no. Something else is at play here. When Python was slain at Woodstock, she was acting strange, like she was running away from something. And Python is just like you said, Athena, extremely powerful. That snake feared something so much she hasn't reformed. What would make Python, daughter of Gaia, the earth dragon of Delphi, run away? Hermes asked since he knows most secrets. Unknown location. A car comes to a stop on a gravel road before the door opens with Amanda getting out of the car. She looks around. The trees are quiet. The animal life is silence. She turns and walks towards a cave that has darkness seeping out of its maw. It was like the darkness was alive and watching. Walking through the darkness without a flashlight since the light wouldn't be able to penetrate through the darkness. The demigod of Athena comes to a stop. I know you're there, Shelob. Amanda calls out into the darkness. As though the darkness moved with Amanda's word, it disappeared. Moving into sight is a massive spider. A great spider. The greatest offspring of Ungoliant, the primordial spider. You may be wondering why a daughter of Athena is standing before a spider without any fear, and that is simple. Amanda overcame Athena's hubris of pride. After Athena challenged the weaver, Arachne, to a contest to weave a chitin. When Arachne beat Athena in the contest, the goddess of wisdom in all her wisdom turned Arachne into a spider. Arachne became vengeful and went after Athena's children and giving them the known fear of spider. The darkness wraps around Shelob. Out of the darkness comes a beautiful woman with pale white skin, thick long dark hair, and equally dark eyes. She is only wearing a simple chitin. Her bare feet touch the ground with her walking over the Amanda. You came to see me, Weller? Asks Shelob. Yes, everything is going as planned, Amanda said. All the planning is coming to forward. You say that, but there are many things that can go wrong. Shelob waves her hand with golden spider webbing coming out to form a mirror. While the fates are blinded, so those like Apollo and Koios can't see the future. Those that have the potential may be able to see past the darkness. Please, if the god of prophecy and the titan of farsight can't see the future, then who can? Amanda doesn't believe this. There are many things out there that world has forgotten. You've forgotten that I too was lost till Tolkien came here by accident. Shelob firmly remembers back all those decades ago. It was shortly after the end of World War I when Tolkien came over to visit American. During his travel he came across a cave that called to him. A cave infamous of people entering and never coming back out. It was here he met Shelob. Before the spider could devour him, she thought of something else. It was as if something stopped her. There Shelob told Tolkien if she were to let him go, he'd had to tell about the world before it was forgotten. When Tolkien released, he kept his word and published The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings so that the world could hear the tale of a long-forgotten world. It wasn't till a few years ago when Amanda came here, for she thought the works of Tolkien was too perfect. How he made out everything seemed to be a bit much. She found this cave after she heard Tolkien came to America to travel and see the country. It was here she met Shelob. A spider so ancient that time forgot all about her. Why do you say that, Shelob? Amanda didn't like where the ancient spider was going with it. I'm saying while those that would normally see the future can't now. I can still see since I know how the web of fate works. That's what made Shelob so powerful. Yes, she is the daughter of Ungoliant. She learned the web of fate. A network of fates. By learning this, Shelob is outside of fate and can see what truly will come before any being with the power to see the future. She could have only learned with when that hobbit, Samwise Gamgee, blinded her all those ages ago. You doubt me, for you cannot see the web of fate. I spent many asunder in the darkness, searching blindly for any form of light before the web of fate came to me, Amanda Weller. While I may be one of the last of a long-forgotten age, there are still more powerful things out there. Fearsome things that would easily slay Zeus and those of ilk. Amanda can feel the pressure from Shelob. The darkness that surrounds her and making her feel like thousands of pounds are being pushed upon her. It was difficult to breathe. Why, yes. Amanda forced out when the pressure disappeared just as quickly as it came. What do you have in mind? What did you see from the web of fate? Many things. For one, that man, Naruto Uzumaki, will do something stupid. But because he does this, the gods of Olympus will be no more. Can you tell me what he does? This wouldn't be the first time that Naruto does something like this. Amanda would know because he didn't use a condom. Tell me, Amanda Weller, how much do you know about Egyptian pantheon? Was all Shelob asked of the demigod of Athena. Camp Half-Blood. Naruto stares at his brothers and sisters as they all lay on the ground huffing and puffing. He knows that children of Aphrodite don't fight unless it's during when the hunters of Artemis come visit. That is the only time when they fight, and that is usually the counselor that does the fighting. The blonde just shakes his head as this isn't what he'd wanted. What can you tell me what you did wrong? Naruto asked everyone, which no one answered. Must you do this to your younger brothers and sisters, Naruto? Kairin asked since he came to see how his old charge is doing. You know they don't fight much. I know that, but one can hope, right? He knew it was pointless, so how has camp been since I left? Oh, you know that same old. Camp doesn't good that much. I can see that, but I remember when it was harder. You have to remember that you and several others are demigods, Naruto. Training was harder because the gods wanted you all to be as strong as possible. Why do you think there were so many monsters running loose? Fate wanted us dead? Naruto always joked about how Fate was a bitch on her period and took it out of the half-bloods and demigods. That humor of yours never change. I have to ask, how is your daughter doing? Little Lucy brought so much joy when she was around. She's doing all right. Artemis is taking care of her for the time being. Because Lucy is a child of 2 demigods, the monsters just come running. I figured, the old trainer knows just how powerful a demigod can become because he's trained a few of them. Some didn't really care and just went their way, while those that did care learned as much as they could before leaving. Seeing 2 demigods having a child together just spelled disaster from the get-go. I see that Poseidon's kid is something else. Never got to see one before. Oh, Percy Jackson is different from other half-bloods. Kairin perks up because Percy has come a long way since first coming to camp. How so? Because as of right now Naruto hasn't seen anything that made him so special. Well, he has a loving mother just like you. Please, Naruto crosses his arms. Mom took care of me because I reminded her of my father. She kept Percy around even though monsters would have appeared sooner or later. She even married a man that smelled so bad that his scent covered up Percy's divine blood. And we all know why Lady Aphrodite took care of you, Naruto. She is the goddess of love after all. I know she is. He looks off into the distance. Naruto can say that living with Aphrodite for the 5 years of his life was the greatest. She always made sure he had clothes to wear, food to eat, though the candy was a bit too much sometimes. The blonde was lucky he didn't get diabetes from all the candy he ate. Naruto can say that Aphrodite was the best mother one could ever ask for. But then everything changed. Because the goddess was taking care of Naruto, she wasn't doing her duty as the love goddess. Zeus stepped in and forced her to place Naruto at Camp Half-Blood so she could take up her duties once more. Aphrodite didn't like that one bit. So when she learned that Zeus cheated on her again, well, let's just say she made it so that the actress had an accident. Michelle pushed up her glasses with a smile on her face. She is happy at how Clarice has been handling herself. The demigod of Ares pushed her younger sister through the ringer and then some. This brings Michelle joy as she watches Clarice stand to her feet. You don't give up, do you? Michelle asks her younger sister. I can't. Not now. Why's that? Selena was my best friend. To learn that she was giving out information like that. It doesn't sit well with me. Why do you say that? Michelle really wanted to know since this is a first between the children of Ares and the children of Aphrodite. There's this boy. Clarice's cheeks burned bright red. I didn't know how to show my feelings for him, but it was Selena that talked me through it. She helped me confess. Like with how Naruto does things. Though he is dense when it comes to himself. That son of Aphrodite, right? I see that way you looking at him. Clarice makes a jab at her older sister. I have no idea what you are talking about. Michelle pushes up her glasses while she is shouting back at Clarice, you are a daughter of Ares. You don't know anything about love. I didn't say anything about love, this is too good to be true, what? You tried to ask him out and he didn't notice? Michelle didn't say anything. Oh, wow. You really did. Michelle pops her knuckles. Time for some more training, little sister. I hope you're ready to see the fields of Elysium. Cheruboni Parish, Louisiana. Selena is being led through Belle Reve. She looks around too as she never seen so many half-bloods in one place before. And all of them are older than 20 years old. Something like this is unheard of to the daughter of Aphrodite. She watches as the half-bloods that attacked Camp Half-Blood are taken to a different cell block, while she is led to another. She noticed that the cell block that she is walking through have large cells with only a single person in them. But then Selena stops to stare at a cell. Inside this cell is a woman that she never thought she'd see again in her life. Cyrilla Fiona Ellen Rhiannon, also known as Ciri. She is the demigod of Artemis. Ashen hair, bright eyes that can't be forgotten, and a scar of her left cheek. Ciri is actually one of, if not the only hunter that Selena liked. She can remember when the hunt would visit and Ciri would go out of her way to see her. Teaching the daughter of Aphrodite to wield a sword. You may be wondering how Artemis can have a demigod when she is a virgin. That is simple. So chose one of her hunters that been with her for centuries. Ciri joined the hunt when she was only 10 years old. Her parents that were wealthy nobles went to attend a wedding when their ship got caught in a storm and sunk. There was a vacuum of power with her parents died. But since no one could claim the power she had because of her blood, the other nobles tried to marry her so that they could have more power. It would have worked, if not for Ciri showing natural talent in her ability to use magic that she gained from her mother's side of the family. When it became known, the nobles used this for their chance to grab as much power they could. Even when Ciri lost her home and position, she still held power because of her noble blood running through her veins. She was running for her life when she came across Artemis and her hunt. She quickly took the oath to forever be a maiden and serve the goddess of the moon. Things start to look up, but then Artemis said she needed demigod for should anything were to happen to her. Ciri, wanting to return the debt that need to be repaid, was the first one to step forward. When Ciri became the demigod of Artemis, she aged to her earlier 20s. But that was when things started to change. It was the little things the Ciri started to notice was when they come across any men or young men, or even boys of young age. It didn't matter who they were. They were turned into jackalope or to another type of animal, but it was mostly jackalope. They did nothing, but just come across them. Ciri started to see the hatred that the other hunters were developing towards the other gender. And just like a cancer, that hatred spread to the other hunters. Even the new hunters would gain this hatred. It became even worse during World War II when Artemis had several of her hunters taken a few girls. One of the girls didn't want to go because her friend, who was a boy, stayed behind to make sure she got into safety was alright. The young girl wouldn't move till she knew her friend was alright, was killed by one of the hunters. The hatred gotten so bad that the hunters started to hate women that fell in love with men. That was when Ciri knew the hunt has changed. It was soon after, when the war was over, when Ciri brought this to Artemis, who wasn't pleased by this, but didn't do a thing to punish the hunter who killed the young girl. That was when Ciri attacked Artemis. It ended with Ciri defeated and imprisoned till Bel Rev was built a few decades later. "Selena, what are you doing here?" Ciri asks with her getting up out of her bed and walks over to the glass wall of her cell. "Why are you at Bel Rev?" "I could ask you the same thing, Ciri. Why are you here? Why aren't you with the moon goddess?" A frown married the demigod of Artemis's face. There were something said and a fight broke out. The next thing I knew, I was in Bel Rev. "But why are you here, Selena?" Have you heard about Luke and the war he started? The one with Cronus?" Selena nods. "No, tell me you didn't." Ciri didn't want to believe that Selena betrayed the gods for just a boy. I did. I thought I was helping and saving lives." Tears started to spill out of Selena's eyes. "I just wanted to save as many lives as possible." Ciri wanted to get out of her cell and hug Selena, but can't, as the cell was just made for her. Ciri is one of Artemis's oldest hunters. The ashen-haired maiden learned magic and is one of the few users that still remain in the Greek pantheon. Powerful seals were placed around the edges of her cell, preventing her from casting any type of spell or blinking out of her cell. Ciri called out to the head guard, "Where are you talking, Selena?" "We're talking her to cell block C." Didn't see the problem with telling Ciri, since she is one of the well-behaved inmates. Because of her actions was against her will, she'll be here for several years. After that, I think they'll have someone watch her so she doesn't do anything wrong. Is Alma is there?" Ciri had met the demigod of Dionysus and knows how she likes to use her powers to mess with people. "Yes, she is. You know this," said, since all the guards know that Alma is located in cell block C. "Alma is going to both her. That is nothing that I can do." Alma uses her powers to bother everyone that walks through that place. That was all said before he had taken Selena away. Ciri stares where Selena was standing. She balled up her fists as she couldn't do a thing for her friend. The ashen-haired maiden promises herself that if she were to get out, then Luke Castellan would have to worry about something. Cell block C. They didn't want to take any chances, so they placed Selena in Naruto's cell since it makes his powers don't work. Selena looks around to see how empty the cell truly is. She frowns as this will be her life till the war is over, and even then she'll be here for a few more years. The daughter of Aphrodite sits on the bed before pulling her knees into her chest. Some daughter of Aphrodite I turned out to be. Selena thought to herself. Something caught Selena's eye. She turns to see bloody footprints outside of her cell. Wanting to see if someone came by with an nurse, Selena gets off the bed and walks over to the end of the cell. She sees no one there, but just the bloody footprints. I wonder who came by. Selena asked herself out loud. That would be me, Alma says, causing a scare in the daughter of Aphrodite. Selena screams and jumps away from Alma. Her heart nearly bursts out of her chest. This is the first time in Selena's time that she was ever this scared. The dark-haired teen didn't know there was someone else inside the cell with her. But that caused Selena to pause because she was the only one that was in here, not this woman in red. Who are you? Selena wanted it to come out like a demand with charm speaking, but since the cell cancel out her powers it didn't do a thing. Oh, just wanted to see my new neighbor. My name is Alma Wade, demigod of Dionysus. Alma greets Selena. You're not a demigod. Why are you here? Selena decides to tell this strange woman the truth. I thought I was doing the right thing. But you weren't. You were very lucky that this Luke Castellan tricked you. Otherwise you'd been killed and spent the rest of eternally being tortured. Selena loses the color in her face. She was told several times that would have happened if she did betrayed the gods and knew about it. It just showed how much this war meant to everyone else if death was meat for those that betrayed them. The daughter of Aphrodite has to think about the minor gods that betrayed Olympus and went to Cronus's side. Will they be punished for their actions? Will the half-bloods that betrayed Olympus be punished? Those are just a few questions that came to Selena's mind. Why are you here? Selena asks Alma since she doesn't know how long she'll be here. So it makes sense to get to know her neighbor. Oh, I've been here. The demigod of Dionysus count her fingers, I don't know. I've been here for years, and I've yet to see light. Outside of Bel Rev is Charlotte and Garo along with Ethan Nakamura, son of Nemesis, and Alabaster C. Torrington, son of Hecate. Alabaster is tall for his age with brown hair, and green eyes with bags underneath them. He also have a few freckles on his face. There are glowing green runes on his clothes. Alabaster has a thick spell book that is hanging from his belt, and an imperial gold sword hanging from his waist too. Ethan is of Asian descent from his father's side. He has glossy black hair and a slim, wiry build. He is wearing Greek armor that hangs off of him slightly, showing that it is too big for him. He is carrying a shield and a sword off his waist. But the one thing that stands out is him wearing an eye patch. Ethan gave up his left eye to his mother, Nemesis, hoping to somehow balance would be restored because of the sacrifice. Are you sure this is the place? Charlotte asks since they had to walk through a swamp for several miles. Yes, this is the place, said Ethan. This is the place that my missing eye showed me. Can we rush please? Alabaster spoke out. I don't know how long I can keep the monsters from finding us. My spell can only work on us for so long. Nodding his head, Charlotte takes out his trident. Here's the plan just in case you've forgotten. We break in and free all the half-bloods that were captured, along with any demigods that we run across. Any VIPs? Garo asked since it wouldn't make much sense to come here leave behind the really powerful ones. We only go to cell block A, don't go to cell block B because that's where the Olympians' demigods are located. And cell block C have the most dangerous demigods there. Gar perked up when he heard this. No, Garo. Leave cell block C alone. The demigod of Koyos firmly says. What about Selena? Ethan asked since it would make sense to grab her as well since she might know some more information that they don't have. No, she had her use, Charlotte coldly stated. Cronus stated that if we were to find her, eliminate her. Alabaster, do it. Right. The son of Hecate walks in front of them and takes out his thick spellbook. He flips through several pages before coming to the page he was looking for, found it. Alabaster throws out his left hand as the air around him darkens. Limit of the 1,000 hands. Respectful hands, unable to touch the darkness. Shooting hands unable to reflect the blue sky. The road that basks in the light, the wind that ignited the embers, time that gathers when both are together. There is no need to be hesitant, obey my orders. Light bullets, 8 bodies, 9 items, Book of Heaven, diseased treasure, great wheel, gray fortress tower. Aim far away, scatter brightly and cleanly when fired. Hado number 91, Senju Koden Teiho. 10 pink balls of magical gather around alabaster before they form cones pointing towards Bel Rev. They burn brighter and hotter, becoming white hot. The son of Hecate commands the spell to fly forward. The balls of magic combine as they get closer and closer to Bel Rev before going off, causing a massive explosion. Alarms go off as does the searchlights. Garo, go have some fun, Charlotte says to the demigod of Hercules. Garo gains a bloodthirst grin before he books it, leaving behind a dust trail. Cell Block C. Selena was having a nice conversation with Alma since the demigod of Dionysus doesn't talk to very many people. She learned that Alma doesn't like people that much because of what her mother did to her when she was just a child. She learned that all Alma wants is to be left alone because she likes the silence that comes with it. But before they could talk anymore, there was a loud noise that shook the whole prison. Alarms and sirens go off. What was that? Selena asked no one in particular. It sounds like an attack. I believe it might by the forces of Cronus, Alma stated, for she made another projection of herself as far as she could. Yes, the forces of Cronus is attacking. 2 demigods along with 2 powerful half-bloods. 2 demigods are attacking? But I thought all the demigods are here? No, not all the demigods are here. There are those that wish to be left alone. And then there are others that hate Olympus for how we're treated. Some most likely joined Cronus to have a chance to kill their godly parent to take their place, explains Alma, since she have met a few demigods that would nothing more than watch Olympus burn. What about you? Selena asks, since she wants to know what Alma thinks of the war. I don't want to fight. This fighting is pointless. One side will win and the other will lose. It doesn't matter which side wins, both are terrible rulers. Alma looks out Selena's cell. We need a new ruler to have peaceful times. Selena didn't get to say anything else because Alma disappears from her cell. From what Selena understood is that Alma sees both Cronus and Zeus as terrible rulers that need to be replaced. She has to wonder who would take the position as the new king of Olympus. Cell Block B-. Siri sits up quickly when she felt the prison shack. She runs over to the end of her cell to see what is happening. The only thing she sees is guards running towards Cell Block A. She has to wonder what is happening outside for the guards to be rushing like this. None of the demigods would try and escape because of the swamp and all the monsters that are outside just waiting for them. The only thing she can think of is the half-bloods are giving some problems, but none should have caused the whole prison to shack like that. Then it dawned on her. Someone is trying to free the half-bloods and demigods in Cell Block A. That could be the only answer that comes to the ashen-haired maiden. Guards! Siri cried out, guards! Is there a prison break? No one answers her. Why are you calling out for a guard? Siri called out a voice. Siri takes a few steps back away from the glass. She knows that voice. The voice of the demigod of Hermes. This demigod has a way with words just like Naruto does with his charm speaking. Though this is different. Unlike charm speaking that forces someone to do what you command them to do, this causes you to give them whatever they want. It is very seemlier. So seemlier they had to test which one was which. Of course the demigod of Hermes has a way of pissing people off really easily. Must be a Hermes thing. What do you want, Garm? Siri asked coldly, for she doesn't trust this man. This son of Hermes is like the god when he was younger, bloodthirsty and have a bloodlust that would give Ares a hard-on and then some. What? Garm says like he doesn't know what the demigod of Artemis talking about. I just wanted to talk. Is there a problem with that? When it comes to you? Yes. Siri resists the urge to sigh, for this demigod knows how to drive her up the wall. Siri can stay that because she is the oldest of the demigods, her patience is the largest. But this man just know the right buttons to push. Do you know something, Garm? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Gritting her teeth, I will get joy in removing your balls. Tell me, damn it. Fine, 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 shush. Word is it that the half-bloods that were brought here might have been captured on purpose. Purpose? For what? For more power, of course. Even I can see that. Think about it. The half-bloods will be able to get equipment that would put them ahead of the camp, for one thing. And the other, Siri can tell that Garm is grinning. The demigods will want to have their revenge of the Olympians for locking them up. Are you sure about this? Siri had to know if what she is hearing is true, or not. Of course it's true. I heard it from a passing guard not that long ago. Though, I don't know how out of date this information is. Garm, I swear to the gods I'll rip your balls off if you don't have any useful information. Ciri threatens the demigod of Hermes, and you know that I can do it. Shush. Garm cup his own balls. Fine. 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 Garm walks over to the edge of his cell. He has spiky blonde hair that is pushed back, blue eyes that are wide and have a gleam in them that calls for blood. The grin on his face doesn't help either. Cronus most likely can't wait for that prophecy that decides the fate of Olympus anymore because of the demigods fighting in this war now. Think about it. With the demigods running around, it'll be so much harder to fight while the mortals don't know a thing. There is so much the mist can cover. It's only a matter of time before a fight is dragged out into the open. Ciri knows this. She knows it was only a matter of time before mortals would see what is truly happening. The mist finds some way to fuck over anyone at some point or another. This war will just make it worse. One battle will lead to the world learning about the Greek pantheon still exists, then it'll call into the attention about the other pantheons. Yes, Ciri knows about the other pantheons because she has been around that long. The North doesn't care too much because they would welcome it because that is just how they are. The South don't because the magicians are worse than the gods or when it comes to them losing their power. The East, she doesn't know how they will feel. The East is a strange pantheon that works in some of the strange ways she'd ever seen. Cell block A-. Garo grins as he kills another half-blood before they could use their weapon. He then uses the dead half-blood as a meat shield because the other guards open fire at him. Running and charging forward to use the dead guard as a bat to knock away the other guards was too easy. This is what Garo has been wanting. He really doesn't care about the war between the gods and titans. All the demigod of Heracles cares about is fighting a strong opponent. He was promised a strong opponent to fight against. The chance to fight in a life or death battle. And what better chance to do that than face off against a god or titan? Alabaster swings his sword to cut through a lock. When the door opens, he goes inside where all the controls are located. The control room for the whole prison. He quickly kills the guard that is posted there. The son of Hecate looks over the controls before fighting the right controls and pushes the button. All the cells in cell block A open up, releasing all the half-bloods and demigods. They still can't use their powers and abilities because of the dampening fields, but he soon shortly finds them controls for that as well and turns it off. Chaos breaks out with the half-bloods and demigods using their powers and abilities to their full extent. Cell block B-. Ciri can hear that the fighting is getting louder. That means the half-bloods and demigods have been released in cell block A. The demigod of Artemis frowns as this is getting out of hand. It's only a matter of time before they come here. Her cell is still locked and the dampening fields are still active. Damn it, cursed the old hunter. What's wrong? Asked Garm, who is standing outside of her cell. She blinks a few times, points a finger the demigod of Hermes. How did you get out of your cell? Of that? He holds up a paperclip and a bobby pin. I picked the lock. It was quite simple with all the noise. Want me to get you out of there? He asks one of the most stupidest questions she have ever heard. That would be a yes. She frowns again. We'll need our weapons if we want to get out of here alive. Ciri told Garm. All the weapons are in cell block A. Not a very good place to place them. I mean, I could get there quickly with my speed. Ciri perks up when she heard this. Hermes is also known as the god of swiftness because he is one of the fastest gods alive. Even in the other pantheons, Hermes could beat the other fast gods without trying too much. Free me. And while you go and get our weapons, I'll head over to cell block C and free Alma. This time Garm frowns when he heard this. Why go free Alma? She's crazy, y'all. No? I know that, but she doesn't need a weapon. Plus she is the widest range with her powers and abilities than any other demigod that I've seen in centuries. Just do it, Garm. Fine, fine, fine. Geez, you're worse than my mother, says the son of Hermes while waving his hands. Garm picks Ciri's cell before disappearing into the coming chaos. Ciri didn't waste any time to head for cell block C. Cell block A-. Garm made easy work sneaking past what remaining guards, half-bloods, and demigods. It was really easy for him, so easy that he pocketed some cash on the way to the armory. When the demigod of Hermes arrived at the armory, he was met by Ethan, who was standing there waiting for him. I've been waiting, Ethan said when he turns around. These visions are something else. he says while rubbing his eye patch. Who the hell are you? And how did you know I was coming here? Garm demanded since no one saw him coming this way. He's the son of Hermes. A thief. A sacrifice can go a long way to see things before they happen. Or more like guess when they happen. Like I know you'll try to get your spear that has a nasty little trick to it. Or how the demigod of Artemis is heading for cell block C to free Alma Wade, the demigod of Dionysus. Garm takes a step back. I wouldn't think about running back to help them. Garm doesn't like how this is turning out to be. He can tell that this half-blood is more powerful than a normal half-blood. He can't be one of the Olympians' kids because he doesn't give off any feelings like they do. The closest would be Hades, but that doesn't get right there. Most likely a minor god's kid. But which one is the question of the day? You said a sacrifice can go a long way. I take it you gave something up to have that power? The demigod of Hermes tries to gain some information that may give him an edge. You could say that. Balance has to come in order, that was all Ethan said before he takes out his word and charges forward. Garm leaps away dodging a sword swing. He has to say that the kid has good form. That swing could have easily taken his head off if he wasn't fast enough. Ducking and dodging became something as the fight going on. It shows that Ethan Nakamura had trained himself into the ground to become a great swordsman. While he isn't on the same level as Luke, his skill with a sword is no laughing matter. He said balance. There aren't that many gods that deal with balance. In fact there is only one. Geez, I have the worst of luck. Taish must still be mad at me for trying to steal some luck from here. Garm leans back from a sword thrust just in time too. I take it your nemesis is Little Spawn, right? That is correct. I am Ethan Nakamura, son of Nemesis. I thought minor gods couldn't claim their children. They can't, but that doesn't mean they can't come and visit. Though only a few do that. Ethan frowns at this, but it doesn't matter. I have to make sure you don't get your weapons. The demigod of Hermes grins as his bloodlust starts to come out. You mind if I take your head, do I? Cell block C. Siri made it to cell block C without any problems, but she stops dead in her tracks. Standing in front of her is Charlotte. She can sense that he is strong. Stronger than any demigod that she's come across before. Who are you? She asks the man in front of her. My name is Charlotte Katakuri, demigod of Koyos, was all that Charlotte said to the demigod of Artemis. This bit of information causes the old hunter's eyes to widen. She never heard of a titan having a demigod before. They always had titans or gods as children. For one to have a demigod as a child. This could be bad, very bad. Why are you here? No, scratch that. You're the one that is leading this prison break. You have that correct. This was the perfect chance to gain some very powerful allies. He raises his hand that isn't holding his trident. The Olympians never realize what they had underneath their noses. The power that was at the feet. Demigods could be so much more than prisoners because the fear of losing that power outweighs the might of right. That said, something like Ares or Zeus would say. Siri can see where Charlotte is going with this, but this isn't the first time a demigod was talking like this. During her years as a hunter showed that some demigods wanted more power than they have. Some wanted to be seen as the new generation of gods that will take place when the older gods step down, so you came here to rescue the captured half-bloods and demigods. That can't be all that you're after. That is correct. The weapons here will give Cronus' army an edge against the Olympians and the other half-bloods at Camp Half-Blood. The bullets are made of celestial bronze and imperial gold. This causes Siri's eyes to widen even further. The two metals that could hurt and possibly kill a half-blood or demigod was made into bullets. She always thought those were regular bullets that the guards were carrying around. If Cronus gained something like that, it'll end back for the camp. While she doesn't really care for the camp that much, she just couldn't let this happen. Siri leans forward and blinks, leaving a bluish trail of light behind her. Charlotte brings up his trident to block a punch from the demigod of Artemis. The force behind the punch caused the son of Koyos to slide back a bit. Siri blinks once again, appearing behind Charlotte. He quickly turns around while spinning his trident around to not only block her, but to hit her with the tail end of his weapon. Siri jumps away from Charlotte to look at him. He shouldn't have been able to do that. Her blink was unreadable because only she knew where she was going. Not even Artemis could read her movement while she was using that. So how he is reading where she'll appear? Charlotte just stares at the demigod of Artemis. Cell block A-. Garm slides out of the way of a sword thrust. For the last few minutes he's been dodging Ethan's attacks. The son of Nemesis kept on aiming at Garm's weak spots like there is a big sign saying attack here. Garm was growing more and more angrier with how things are turning out to be. But then a grin appears on the demigod of Hermes' face. Hey, Garm started out to say, don't you feel a little light? Ethan looks at him strangely, I mean, don't you need these? Garm holds up several metal pins and leather straps. And just like that all of Ethan's armor falls off of him. During the whole fight Garm has been taking bits and pieces of Ethan's armor off. It was just the little things. The son of Hermes takes full advantage of this and uppercuts the son of Nemesis with enough force to knock him out. Garm didn't waste any time with him going into the armory and grabs his footlocker and Ciri's footlocker. When he leaves the armory Ethan was gone. Damn, he sure didn't stick around when I finally gotten my weapon. Garm didn't stick around either for he rushes off to cell block C. Cell block C. Ciri is breathing heavy with several cuts from Charlotte's trident. He keeps on knowing where she is going to attack. Dodging and counter-attacking just when the timing is right. It was like he was seeing into the future. And that was when it dawns on Ciri. Of course, how could I've been so stupid? He's the son of Koyos, the titan of Farsight. He can see where I'm going to attack, Ciri thought to herself. You have Farsight, don't you? She asks the demigod of Koyos to confirm her theory. I see no reason to lie to you. I do in fact have Farsight. I can see when you are going to attack me. Just like now you are, Garm, demigod of Hermes. Charlotte didn't even bother to turn around. Hanging from the ceiling Garm was fixing to thrust his spear at the demigod of Koyos. Garm lets go of the ceiling and lands on the floor. He walks over to Ciri and hands her footlocker. Ciri didn't waste any time and takes out 2 swords. That's just it? Garm had to ask, 2 swords? What? I could ask the same thing about yours. Oh, my baby is more than just a normal spear. He holds up the spear to eye level, it'll be a split. I swear to the gods if that was some type of joke just now. She sighs out to calm herself down, no time for that right now. I take it you'd heard what he said, correct? Yeah, Farsight, the ability to see into the future. Not something good to fight against. I hate to say it, but I think we need Alma, Garm said, but he really doesn't want to free that crazy woman. It may be our only chance to escape from here. The prison is lost, said Ciri. They both didn't say anything else for they have a battle to keep their full attention on. Selena has been watching this fight the whole time is stunned. She never seen demigods fight each other. She heard that their battle are so much more different. Many thought it was just as destructive as their godly parent, but that could be further from the truth. Here she is watching the demigod of Artemis, a user of magic that can teleport around the battlefield and use sword skill that is on a master level. A demigod of Hermes with speed like the Flash from comic books. And from what she heard, a demigod of Koyos who can see into the future. The battle came to a crawl because the ability to see into the future while fighting is something on another level, almost on God level. Selena looks around to see if she can help. She knows that this is her older brother's cell. So he must have had something around here. The daughter of Aphrodite's know that if for some chance should both Ciri and Garm die at the hands of Charlotte, then he'll came after her. She's a loss end that needs to be dealt with. Garm makes the first move as he charges headfirst towards the demigod of Koyos. Garm leans out of the way when Charlotte thrusts his trident at him, but quickly sidesteps when the older demigod throws a nasty punch at him. The demigod of Hermes twists the handle of his spear, which caused the weapon to come apart. A second blade comes out of the second weapon. Garm swings both weapons at the older demigod, but he easily blocks both attacks. Ciri appears in a blink, swings her sword overhead trying to cut the man in half. And just like before, he easily dodges her sword swing. Ciri saw that Charlotte was going to cut Garm in half, so she grabs him and blinks away. The son of Hermes wasn't expecting that, which caused him to lose what was in his stomach. Warn me, next time. Bitch. Heaving for blinking around causes one to lose their breath so they can easily move around when they reappear. He may be a son of Hermes, but that doesn't mean he can move around that quickly at sudden. What was that? I think the next time I'll just leave you to die, she threatens her fellow demigod. You heard me. I called you a bitch. It means female dog. Garm leans back up. This is getting up nowhere. The bastard can see what we're going to do before we even try. Fuck. I know. Ciri eyed Selena, who found a knife and was picking the lock to her cell. We just have to wait for a bit more. Garm, who is seeing the same thing that Siri is seeing, you say that like it'll be easy. But nothing is gained without some pain. He rests one of his weapons on his shoulder. That's where the true fun is located. A bloodthirsty makes it way upon his face. Selena finally picked the lock. She may not be good with May things, but she learned to pick a lock from the Stoll brothers because they like to cause a little chaos at camp. The daughter of Aphrodite heard the two demigods about freeing Alma, meaning that woman can help them. While being stealthy was never her strong suit, Selena sneaks away, running down the white hallways to come to a stop to a heavily chained metal door. She looks around the metal door and finds a keypad that was a sticky note next to it with the password. Why is this here? Selena asks herself. It was like someone knew this would happen. Selena didn't waste any time and punched the password into the keypad. Then like magic the chains move on their own. The metal door slides upward. Inside the room is a woman. She has a straight jacket on while she is wearing a metal helmet that is cover most of her face. Taking a single step forward and images of death hit her mind. That's when she learned that while Alma can make projections of herself, the room acted as a massive dampening field to make sure images of death and insanity does overwhelm people to commit suicide. Sorry about that, Alma says with a muffled voice. It's just been so long since anyone has opened that door. I know what is happening outside. Let me free and I'll help you. Selena only talked to the demigod of Dionysus for only an hour or so before the prison was under attack. She wants to trust her and free her, but the daughter of Aphrodite knows who the children of Dionysus can be. While Pollux and Castor are nothing like that, she heard the stories what his children can do with the power of madness. But she pushes forward and undo the straitjacket and metal helmet. Finally free from the straitjacket, Alma stretches her arms, popping her bones. Free from that metal helmet, her long black hair falls almost to the floor. Now, let the fun begin. Her red eyes burn with madness as though a dam bursts open with blood pouring and rushing out of her cell. Every half-blood and demigod in Bel Rev felt it. A wave of power washing over them. As though reality has changed. And it did. A wall of blood rushes down the hallways, corridors, walkways, and paths to be replaced by rusty, dark, dank, poorly lighted rooms. Shit. Cursed. Group up. He along with his remaining guards knew that was Alma Wade. The demigod of Dionysus was set free. They know of her powers and what they can do. You don't guard someone and don't understand and know how their powers work. Alma's powers can change and shape reality to make it into a nightmare. While Dionysus doesn't have the power to change reality, he does have the power to change one's view of reality. Alma can create powerful illusions so powerful that it can harm people, drive them insane to the point they'll either cut themselves, each other, or start to worship her. Contact, called out one of the guards. In front of them the air shifts around. It was hard to make out, but in front of them is a creature that Alma created. The guards call these things shades. For they are hunched over corpse-like creatures that crawl on the walls. They are nearly invisible with glowing red eyes and sharp claws. Fire, called out the command. The guards open fight on the shades. The once invisible shades become ash gray, and then explode in a cloud of ash and a small flash of light. Ammo check. Everyone checks their weapons and what remaining magazines they have left. Fighting half-bloods and demigods made them run low on ammo as it was, but now with Alma using her powers too. It just made it that much more difficult to get out of Bel Rev alive. Sir, what do we do? Asks one of the guards. We head over to the armory, restock on ammo, and get the bigger guns. While Alma's nightmare creatures run around and kill the half-bloods and demigods. Move out people. They didn't need to be told twice for the move towards the armory. Alabaster just stares into the camera feed as he just watched strange creatures starting to appear out of nowhere. The son of Hecate felt a wave of immersive power wash over him. Then these things started to appear and kill anyone in sight. Alabaster knows what they are. Those are the creation of the demigod of Dionysus, Alma Wade. Before they went on this mission they were told to avoid her at all costs because of her powers can drive someone insane. Seeing how she just created these creatures in such a large range just shows how powerful the daughter of Dionysus truly is. Alabaster, Ethan makes himself known to the son of Hecate. I have all the celestial bronze and imperial gold bullets from the armory along with the weapons that can fire them. We need retreat before this gets out of hand. Before this gets out of hand? Alabaster wanted to yell that it already has gotten out of hand but keeps his cool. You're right. We have what we came for. He brings up a radio. Dogtooth. Garo. We have what we came for. It's time to retreat. Ethan watches Alabaster turns around and heads out of the control only for him to stop, take out his sword, and cuts off a monster's head. Alabaster knows this creature because they have a file on Alma and all of her creations. This thing is called a scavenger. The scavengers are indiscriminate monsters that will attack anything in sight. They have an unmatched hunger and aggression and are highly intelligent and disciplined, working together to ruthlessly consume their prey. As soon as one scavenger senses prey, it calls on the rest to join in the attack. Their method of attack consists of scratching and lunging to bite. Flames start to appear on their bodies as they take damage. What about the half-bloods and demigods? Ethan asked with him catching up to Alabaster. Our real objective was to obtain the celestial bronze and imperial gold bullets and weapons that can fire them. Any half-bloods and demigods that join us is an added bonus. Alabaster holds up a flash drive. I have all the information that was collected by those here in Bel Rev about the demigods. How their powers work, their strengths, their weaknesses, everything. We just gained more than what we've lost. Garo punches a hole in the wall and walks through it. The fun ended when the whole prison changed into something like a horror movie. The demigod of Heracles never did like horror movies even though he wanted to see the monster win in the end. The remaining guards turned their attention from him to the strange creates, showing that they fear those things more than him. Besides, when he heard Alabaster over the radio telling him that they have what they came for, he knew that was when he'd have to leave. Because the damage that they caused might monsters were coming to raid the prison, killing anyone who was still left inside. It was like how sharks smell blood in the water. They can smell the blood of the half-bloods and demigods. Cell Block C. Standing in front of Dogtooth, Siri, and Garm is a strange creature. Standing at 8 feet tall, pale pink skin, with no visible eyes, the feet have been cut off at the ankles which leaves behind a trail of blood. From the abdomen down is missing, leaving only the sides that are connected to the legs. This thing is known as the Creep for it is Alma's most powerful creature that she can make. Though the downside is that it can turn on her if she's not careful. Oh, fuck, Alma is free. She's going to kill us all. Shouted out Garm. Siri resisted. She truly did resisted from slapping Garm. The demigod of Artemis knows just how powerful Alma can be when she wanted to be. But for right now that power was needed. Garm, we have to move quickly and leave this thing here to fight again, Charlotte, whispers out Siri. And how are we supposed to do that? The demigod of Hermes cried but makes sure that Dogtooth does hear them. Don't you see that thing? Waving his weapons towards that strange monster. That thing isn't normal, but then again so isn't Alma. I believe that thing will attack anything that moves. What are you, a little bitch? I thought you were the demigod of Hermes? Siri knows how to give someone motivation when they need it, for when she served Artemis a lot of the hunters looked towards her when either the goddess or Zoe was away. I thought Hermes was the fastest god. I'm sure you can get away if you wanted to. Blushing at the compliment, geez. When you put it that way. I'm sure I can get away from that thing. While those two were talking, Dogtooth just stares at the creep that was standing in front of him. He foreseen what will come. The two demigods will use their abilities to leave him behind so that the creep will charge and attack him. It isn't a terrible plan if he has to say so, and while he doesn't have something like that, Dogtooth does have something to get him out of here. What you two have planned, this draws the attention of everyone in the corridor to Dogtooth, is very good, but you've forgotten one thing. I can foresee events before they happen. He takes out a slip of paper. Now Dogtooth learned a great many things over his long life, but he was never really good with magic. He knows just enough to get by with simple spells. Hako Okori. White lines appeared around Dogtooth. The lines connect to each other and form orange walls in the empty spaces, sealing Dogtooth inside a box-shaped orange barrier. I have to thank Alabaster for showing me this spell. This spell will teleport me away from this place, while you two will have to deal with that thing. Goodbye, demigods. And just like that, Dogtooth teleports away from the corridor. Well, fuck me sideways. That was the only thing that Garm could say before the creep roars at them and charges forward. Cheruboni Parish, Louisiana. Dogtooth appears outside of the prison with the box-shaped orange barrier around him bursting into little orange bits of light. He is greeted by Alabaster, Ethan, Garo, and a few half-bloods and demigods that manage to escape from Bel Rev. Alabaster, this draws the attention of said half-blood. We have everything? Yes, all the weapons and armor that we can hope for. Along with some of the half-bloods that were captured. Even a few demigods have joined us. I can see that. Teleport us out of here. I can sense the monsters gathering into a horde and is fixing to storm the place. Anyone left inside will be food for them. Alabaster didn't have to be told twice. He looks around and walks over to a tree that is an equal distance away from another tree. He climbs on top of the first tree and kneels down. Blue magical energy gathers in his right hand. My right hand is the stone that bridges worlds. My left hand is the blade that binds reality. The black-haired shepherd is hung from a chair. Stratus clouds come, and I strike down the ibis. The blue magical energy in his hand flows into the tree that he is standing on before shooting over to the other tree. The magical energy that tethers between the two trees flow like water before opening a black abyss. Those who used it to come here walk through without being told to do so. The half-bloods and demigods look into the black abyss, unsure what awaits for them on the other side. It didn't take them that long before making up their minds and walk into the black abyss. Alabaster, who is the only one left there, jumps through the black abyss before it closes behind him. Cell Block C. You can hear screams throughout all of Cell Block C as Garm runs for his life. After Dogtooth teleported away, the creep started to attack both him and Siri. The demigod of Artemis blinked away, leaving only Garm to deal with the monster that Alma created. He was cornered, but before the monster could attack him, it fades away. Giggling can be heard as Garm opens his eyes to see Selena standing there giving Alma a piggyback ride. That was so manly, Garm. Alma could hold back her laughter anymore and openly laughs at the demigod of Hermes. I hate you. He looks at Selena. I thought she'd kill you. How are you still alive? Flashback. Finally free from the straitjacket, Alma stretches her arms, popping her bones. Free from that metal helmet, her long black hair falls almost to the floor. Now, let the fun begin. Her red eyes burn with madness as though a dam bursts open with blood pouring and rushing out of her cell. Selena looks around and can see the difference from the once clean white hallways to the now dark, dirty corridors that look like something from a horror movie. The daughter of Aphrodite turns around to see Alma standing right in front of her with some of her long black hair parting way to see her red eye that has clear madness in it. Tell me, do I look nice so that Naruto can look at me? Selena was taken aback by this. It seems her older brother had several ladies going after him. She'd seen how the demigod of Ares looked at him, and now it seems the demigod of Dionysus had her sights set on the blonde. Why you have such long hair? For the first time in her life, Selena doesn't know what to say about anything to make someone beautiful. It'll take some time to make it shine. Grinning at the thought of Naruto looking at her with love in his eyes just made Alma want to leap with joy. I need your help. Because I've used my powers in such a large range, and without using them for time, I can't move away. Can you carry me? Sure. Selena agrees because she feels like she doesn't have very much of a choice. Selena turns around and Alma climbs up on her back, having a piggyback ride. Flashback end. That's great and all, but what are we going to do now? Garm had to ask because with things are going, it's only a matter of time before Bel Rev is destroyed. Siri appears in a blink. We have to leave now, she tells them. A large horde of monsters are making their way here. What about the prison guards? Any of them left alive? Selena asks since she doesn't want any more death. Shaking her head, if any are alive they won't be for very long. The best that they can do now is for them to let Olympus know what happened here. That Bel Rev is no more. Alma, can you make any more monsters? Shaking her head, no, I have used my powers in such a large range in a long time I'm pooped. I can maybe summon one of my scavengers, but that is it. I see. Siri inhales then exhales. I've never really liked doing this, but I'm going to have to blink all this away at once. I sensing a butt here, and not the fun kind. Like butt stuff, Garm said as he tries to look at Siri's ass. I want to leave you here to be devoured by those monsters, but you still have your use. Wow, I can feel the love. Right here, he points to his heart. I hate to see what your husband will have to say if he were to hear that. I don't have a husband. I know. Do you think you know why? Selena is once again taken aback on how these two are talking to each other. The dark-haired girl always thought the demigods would get along with each other just like their godly parents, in other words poorly, but she was wrong about that. Selena is brought out of her thoughts when Siri called for her to come closer. Alright, I'm going to blink us several miles away from here. Afterwards I won't be able to move on my own and I'll most likely be unconscious. I need for you to make sure that this idiot over here doesn't do anything to me while I'm out. Hey, I take offense to that. I'm a bloodthirsty battle freak. I'm not some rapist. I know what Moon would do to me if I did something to her demigod. Right, looking back over to Selena. I know this is going to be hard, but I know you can do this, Selena. Selena fights the frown that is trying to make way onto her face. Siri is trusting her with not just her life, but with the others as well. Alma can't use her powers or move around, and now Siri is about to do the same thing. The only one that'll be able to fight is Garm, but there will only be so much one demigod can do. Yes, they are powerful, but even they too have limits. Alright, still unsure of herself. Exhaling before taking a deep breath. Silver light starts to shine out of Siri. The silver light enveloped everyone there before disappearing in a flash of silver light. The only thing that was left behind was small silver particles before they too fade away. Cell block A- drags himself along the ground. All the guards have been killed, making him the only one still left alive. Though he is missing his left leg, which is causing him to lose a lot of blood. He pulled himself to the control room to find everyone else has been either killed or eaten. The son of Ares pulls himself up and type away with the last of his strength. Black Site has been attacked and overrun by the enemy, says out loud as he types the message out. Flash. Huntress and Fear have managed to escape during the fighting. Everyone else is dead. I'm going to overheat the core so that there will be no place left. All the light turned red and a loud siren goes off. Turns around and sits on the floor. His breathing is becoming slow. He did his job, giving one last message before dying. Reaches into his pouch to take out a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. He put a cigarette in his mouth and lights the end of it. While the son of Ares didn't go out and fight in wars to live up his father's name, he did work hard at what he did do. Well, now I don't have to worry about clearing my browser history. Deep under Bel Rev is a power planet that powers the whole prison so they don't have to use mortals' energy. It'll raise too many questions as to where the power is going. Even the Mist would have a difficult time covering that up. Protocol is for any reason Bel Rev be overrun by either the demigods or monsters, the power plant is to overheat and melt down. The explosion will destroy not only Bel Rev, but the surrounding land for several miles. It would destroy anything from monsters to enemies that are attacking the place. Cheruboni Parish, Louisiana. A silver light hits the ground with everyone hitting the ground. Garm can see stars from his head spinning, Alma giggles and laughing, wanting to go again. Selena wants to throw up as her stomach is going through loops, and Siri, just like she said, is unconscious. But before anyone can do a thing, they can hear and feel the explosion of Bel Rev. They are far enough from the blast so it wouldn't hurt them, but they still felt the shockwave from the blast. Garm was the first one to look up to see a pillar of smoke climbing up to the heavens. Damn, that is one big boom, was the only thing that Garm could say as he watches the smoke. One would wish to have some bark. Make it stop, groans out Selena as she makes it to her feet. What now? Now? Garm looks around, for they are still in the swamp. Now we book it and run like hell. The surviving monsters will have our scent for sure. And with Siri out cold, and me unable to cast madness let alone walk, we're shit out of luck. Taish must really hate you, Garm. A sly grin makes way onto Alma's face. What did you do to her, Tried to charm her? Tried to steal something? Garm couldn't look at Alma, turns away. I tried to steal some luck from her by charming the goddess. When Taish found out that I was trying to steal luck from her, it didn't rend very well. Why do you think I was in Bel Rev in the first place? You tried to do the same thing that your father did to Apollo. Selena couldn't believe what she just heard. It was like when Hermes stole cattle from Apollo. The only difference is that Hermes managed to make it up to Apollo by giving him the first lyre, while Garm failed and was sent to Bel Rev. It's not my fault. We're brother and sister. It was true, as Taish is the daughter of Hermes. I should have gotten off easy. You're forgetting that Hermes used his wit and fast thinking to get away what he did. You didn't, from the looks of it. I hate you. No, I really do hate you, Alma. Have anyone told you that? Garm was pouting at how Alma is teasing him. Why, yes they have. Right before I drove them mad and have them comment suicide. The madness burns red in her red eyes. Do go on please. I think we should get to moving. Selena says that this is good and all, but the monsters would be here soon. Shouldn't we head to Camp Half-Blood to tell the others that Belle Reve was raided? Garm can see that is a good idea, but he doesn't want the gods up on Olympus to know that they're free. Garm himself isn't much of a problem. The real problem lies with Alma. Her powers are just too much for the mortals to handle. She makes people go mad if they make her mad with a flick of a wrist. There's one place he can think of, but does he tell Selena? Should I tell her about the plan that Amanda has? I mean, she's already seen as a traitor in the eyes of the other half-bloods. They won't take her back no matter what. Garm mentally sighs. Of course she's in this now. The demigod of Hermes walls over to Ciri and picks up her to carry the sleeping demigod on his back. Selena, follow me. Nodding, she picks up Alma and carries said demigod on her back. Where we're going? We're going to someplace safe. Both from the Titans and the gods. Alma, can you make something to scout out ahead? Alma waved her hand and one of her scavengers come out of the ground. Unlike the other scavengers, this one is blue. The blue scavenger runs ahead of them, leaving behind a blue trail. He'll make a path for use and kill any monsters that get in our way. Mount O3's Charlotte, Ethan, Alabaster, and Garo stand in front of Cronus. They've arrived not too long ago with the half-bloods and demigods. Those that came with them were lead away to be given armor and weapons for the upcoming battles with the gods of Olympus and this that follow them. We gathered all the armor, weapons, and ammo that Belle Reve had in its armory. Everything went as planned. Dogtooth finished up his debriefing with the King of Titans. That's good. Cronus turned to his brother. Your son did well, Koyos. He may be your greatest child as of yet. Thank you, brother. I know Charlotte will do us proud. Koyos can say his son is the strongest in the whole army when it comes to using farsight in battle. Koyos have used it in battle before, but his son somehow took it a step further and made it even better. By keeping a calm face and think things through, he can always see what the enemy was going to do. With the half-bloods and demigods along with those weapons, our army will be unstoppable. Yes, the gods of Olympus won't know what hit them. Cronus can't keep the smile off of his face. This is a joyous day. It truly is. Was there any problems? There were a few. The demigods of Artemis, Dionysus, and Hermes were there. I fought both the demigods of Artemis and Hermes for a bit till the demigod of Dionysus unleashed her madness over the whole prison. Yes, I was told more about these demigods. They sound very much like how I was told that the Titans would have children that wouldn't be Titans. I believe that these are the new gods that would have taken over just like the gods did to us. Cronus rubs his chin. Tell me about them? The demigod of Hermes is just like his father. A tricky one for sure. He uses a spear that can separate and be used to kill his opponent if they aren't paying attention. The demigod of Artemis is something else. She most likely been part of the hunt, so she's older the others and uses that to her advantage. She uses magic to move around the battle to end it quickly. They both will be a problem down the road if they aren't dead now. Oh, why do you say that? Cronus had to know because it sounds like Dogtooth ended them both. Because there was much blood spilled during our raid. The monsters would have overrun the place and devoured anyone that survived. Even if they did manage to survive, they still had to deal with the surrounding swamps that had even more monsters just waiting for them. You make a very good point. Multiple points. When we take Olympus, you will be rewarded very handsomely for your actions during this war, Dogtooth. Anything else, sir? Alabaster stepped forward and he holds up a flash drive. While this was going on, I managed to gather all the information on the other demigods. We now know their strengths, weakness, and how their powers work. We'll hold the advantage over them in the upcoming battles with them. This is just marvelous. Not only have we gained new soldiers, weapons, and armor, but information about our enemies. Those gods of Olympus won't know what hit them. Cronus stands up from his throne and walks over to the broken wall and stare out into the Bay of San Francisco. This war is taking a different turn. When we are the victors. Mount Olympus. Word quickly spread that Belle Reve was destroyed. Zeus had all the Olympians gather for a meeting. Athena went over the message that managed to send out before the place blew up. Black Site has been attacked and overrun by the enemy, says out loud as he types the message out. Flash. Huntress and Fear have managed to escape during the fighting. Everyone else is dead. I'm going to overheat the core so that there will be no place left. That was the manage sent out before Bel Rev destruction. Athena turned to Ares, your son did a good deed. Ares didn't say anything. While he doesn't really care about his kids dying, it's another when they did die while doing their job. The god of war can say he's impressed by what his son did. Who are Flash, Huntress, and Fear? Hermes asked since he never really looked into Bel Rev, and what's Black Site? Black Site is what Bel Rev was called when it was first built. At the time there was no name. Believe it or not, but it was Aphrodite that came up with the name. Everyone turned to the goddess of love as she is fixing her makeup. I saw it in a comic book. I didn't want another Greek name running around, so I said we should call it Bel Rev. Of course you would, said the goddess of the moon before she does a double take. Wait. You read comic books? You can read? Artemis couldn't believe what she was hearing. So mean little girl. Of course I read. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. So many ladies going after him. Though I have to say I hate the one where him and Mary Jane ended their marriage. Those two are made for each other. She looks over to Apollo. I want my money back. Not happening. But can we get back to discussion at hand? While the god of the sun would love to talk about comic books all day, this needs to be addressed, like Hermes said. Who are Flash, Huntress, and Fear? Huntress is most likely Ciri, said Artemis. She is happy that Ciri made it out of Bel Rev alive. Yes, they have their differences, but that doesn't mean she still miss her old friend. So many of her hunters have died over the years and Ciri is one of the few that are the oldest. The Flash? Hermes rubs his chin. Garm. That was the only thing that came to his mind. Why did they give Garm that name? He can't move that fast. I think they gave it to him because who his father is. Flash was made because of you. Athena said since it only makes sense for the creators to base the Scarlet Speedster after Hermes, but who is Fear? No one said anything since they didn't know which demigod could do something with fear. All but one, Alma. Everyone turned to look at Dionysus. Alma, my daughter, is the one known as Fear. Her powers are the strongest that have ever came. She makes people comment suicide from her powers, or have them worship her. That's a nasty power right there. Apollo says, powerful enough to make people want to comment suicide or worship her? Some people will worship fear to be used onto others. Luckily Alma doesn't care about what other people think. Though I'd be careful around her for she doesn't like it when people say anything that upsets her. The god of madness looks over to Aphrodite. You might want to tell your demigod to be careful around for she has a crush on him. Aphrodite perks up when she heard this. Her baby boy already have one woman going after him, Michelle K. Davis. While she doesn't like the fact she's Ares's daughter, ilks her just a little. To hear another one is after him. This is just too good to be true. What to do? What to do? So many choices. The goddess of love starts to plot and it might not be for the better. While Aphrodite is plotting her son's love life, the other gods continue their discussion. What are we going to do now that Bel Rev have been destroyed? Hermes asks since the only place they could hold any of the demigods have been destroyed. There is no place to hold any of them anymore. For now we should worry about the demigods that escaped. Athena was the one that brought this up. Most likely there will be demigods fighting on Cronus's side of this war now. Do we have a final count on the demigods that were at Bel Rev? No, Apollo frowns at this for something is still blocking him. Most of the major gods had demigods there, and several minor gods had their demigods there. But even with Rick and his team capturing demigods, there are still those that can outrun them. So it's kind of difficult to know just how many demigods were at Bel Rev and those that are running free. That can't be good. Dionysus leans back to push out his gut. As long they don't come to Camp Half-Blood I'm fine with it. Though, the god of madness scratches the side of his head. What are we going to do with the ones there? Once they learn that Bel Rev has been destroyed they might not want to fight for us anymore. What about those explosives in their necks? Ares yelled out. They're still working. Everyone looks over to Hephaestus. I've seen the work that my son did when he made those. They work on a different grind that operated on a different line than those that worked on Bel Rev. Hephaestus explains all this to the other gods. Forge made sure that they would work even if Bel Rev was no more. That's good and all, but what are we going to do about the demigods at Camp Half-Blood? Dionysus asks for while he doesn't like working there at the camp he does want to make sure that the campers are safe. It may cause problems if they learn that Bel Rev has been destroyed. We don't tell them anything, Zeus was the one that said this. They won't be told that Bel Rev has been destroyed. And when this war is over we'll just end them. Athena smiles at this because this will ruin any plans that her daughter had planned. Camp Half-Blood. What gods of Olympus didn't know was when sent that message out he'd spent it to Rick. From there Rick showed the demi-gods the message. That's where we find everyone sitting inside Hera's chamber going over that Bel Rev has been destroyed. What now? Genos was the one that asked this because they all most likely know what they gods have planned for them. Now? Rick spoke up. Now we get those bombs out of your necks. The son of Mars can see what the others can see, and who doesn't want that? He was hired and paid for capturing and making sure that the demigods don't cause too much destruction and chaos. The Roman inside him doesn't his fellow half-bloods to die because they gods are afraid of them. I can tell you where the bombs were made, and most likely the same place has the codes to turn them off. Why are you helping us? Reaper knows how Romans think, for you don't live as long as he did and not become look at the little things. I've seen many half-bloods die because the gods are too fearful. I don't want to see that happen. Not after the demigod of Vesta. No one need to say anything, for they all knew what happened. Hestia took her Roman form and made one of the Romans her demigod that fit the bill to be her demigod. That demigod went on to use their powers, and the gods started to fear Vesta's demigod and took action. Camp Jupiter lost a powerhouse, and they lost some faith in the gods that day because the demigod of Vesta was leading them to a better tomorrow. I need to get to Charleston. Everyone looks to Naruto, for he was the that said that. What's in Charleston? Reaper looks to one of the stronger demigods. That's where home is. Aphrodite raised me there because that's where she's strongest. Are you sure it's wise to visit one of the gods that could destroy you? Michelle can tell what Naruto was thinking. It's worth it. Aphrodite has been helping us. The blonde can see that everyone doesn't understand what he was saying. The goddess of love has grown tired how the other gods have been treating their kids. She wants to change that, and it also helped that she wants to have some revenge on Ares. For what he did to your father. Michelle and everyone knows what happened. Ares always finds some way to harm Aphrodite's lovers. You can't go alone, you do know, right? I know that, Michelle. But what's the plan going to be? We have to get these bombs out of our necks, and to find out what the gods are planning for us. I can lead a small team to the place where the bombs were made. Reaper says as he stands up and walks over to Naruto. You can whoever you want, but we have to leave some of us here so that the gods don't see what we're doing. My team and I will stay here so that the camp isn't overrun by Cronus's forces, said Rick, as he and his team really can't leave because it would still look bad if they ran from a fight. Being the son of Hephaestus, I can learn and read on these bombs, Genos said, as it makes sense for him to go with Gabriel. I think one more should go with us. That would be me. Robin sits up from the bed that he was laying on. Who knows what's waiting for us? You'll need all the firepower that you can get. Michelle and me will head for Charleston then. Naruto doesn't have to be a psych to know that the demigod of Ares is staring at him. I know you're not going to take no for an answer. So that leaves Ivy here. I'm staying, for it would look strange for all the demigods to disappear all at once. Besides, I don't really want to go to any of those places. I can just feel that there is very little green. Then we have a plan, said Rick, with him grabbing everyone's attention. We'll get you all out during the night. No, Gabriel shakes his head. We can't all go all at once. They'll look like we're running. Naruto and Michelle should be the first ones to leave since it's those two. We'll head out the next night. Is there anything else we should talk about before going ahead with this plan? No, I think that's pretty much it. Robin looks around at everyone else. What about Amanda? Shouldn't she know about this? Fuck her. Naruto really doesn't want to say that, but it's true. They went out, fucked, had a child together, and she doesn't want to take care of said child. It was like Lucy was never part of her plan. She's not here. With Bel Rev gone, she can't do a thing. She has no power over us. Naruto stands up. We don't have to be afraid anymore. This war isn't our to begin with, but we'll be sure as to damn those that come after us. We didn't ask to be born with these powers. We didn't ask to be born from gods. We make our own future because fate can go fuck itself without any lube. Later that day, Naruto is standing in front of the hearth that is in the center of Camp Half-Blood. He can remember all the time he'd spent here just staring into the warm welcoming flames. Out of all the Olympians, Naruto believes that should Hestia take the throne, there would be a golden age that the likes have never been seen before. I see that you still come visit after all these years, says Hestia as she comes out of the hearth. you never really changed about that. Naruto kneels down to the only goddess besides his mother. For Hestia is the one who should rule, and not Zeus. You always know what to say, Lady Hestia. Giggling at how Naruto always acts about her, please rise, her knight, the goddess of the hearth knows what Naruto thinks of her. While she is happy that someone out there thinks of so highly of her, it's not her place to rule, there is much on your mind. Standing up for the goddess, there always is. Being a father doesn't allow one to stand around and do nothing. I fear that I might have placed Lucy in danger by letting Moon take care of her. Artemis won't harm your daughter, Naruto. The oath that you've forced her to take and the one that she took all those millennia. Though the other gods might try something. Zeus most likely, since fear is setting in. Hestia can tell that Zeus is fearing of losing his throne. It was something that their father had, and their grandfather had. It was a nasty cycle that was once again repeating itself. The gods up on Olympus have called for your deaths when this war is over. Naruto just stares back into the hearth once more. He knew this would happen. The life of a half-blood was always filled with danger and hardship. The life of a demigod more so. Any god would fear the thought of losing their power would make them do anything to keep said power. I know that, Lady Hestia. That's why I can say that we're acting. I know this will bring you pain, but by the end of this war, some else will be sitting on Zeus' throne. Hestia frowns, for she knows this is to come. It was a cycle that needs to happen. If Zeus had let Métis given birth to a son and made sure that his son would have been a better ruler than he was, maybe this wouldn't be happening now. Please don't kill everyone, good night. Not all the gods are all bad. I'll try to save as many as I can, but there's only so much I can do. That's all I'd asked of you, good night. Hestia looks up to the sunset, the day is ending. Naruto turns to watch the sunset with the goddess. The ending is coming, but the just means a new beginning is to come. Naruto stayed with Hestia till the sun fully goes down. During the dead of night both Naruto and Michelle sneak out of Camp Half-Blood. It helps that they knew how the harpies work around the clock for like to take an hour-long break around 2 in the morning. The next night Gabriel, Genos, and Robin sneak out just like Naruto and Michelle did the night before. It also helped that Reaper could shadow travel them out of camp without anyone noticing them. Mount Othries. Cronus sits upon his throne with his brothers standing next to him as several of the demigods stand in front of him, pledging to him for the upcoming battles. Dogtooth, are these the ones that will fight for me really powerful? Cronus asks, since the Olympians have their demigods that are all major gods. The only ones that remained in Bel Rev were of minor gods. These three are the only ones that stand out from the other demigods. Charlotte waves over for the 3 demigods to step forward. I am Toshiro Hitsugaya, demigod of Kione. Hitsugaya is tall and lanky, with turquoise eyes and short, spiked white hair showing that his powers is affecting his hair. He is wearing a white double-breasted trench coat with black lapels that is fastened by 4 buttons on either side. He has a black belt with a large buckle around his waist, slightly baggy white pants, and white boots with furry black liners. Toshiro also has a sword hanging on his back. The Titans can just feel the large amount of power coming from Toshiro, and he isn't even trying to release it. That just shows how powerful he is. Can you not control your powers? Hyperion asks, for any half-blood or demigod try to control their powers whenever they get a chance to. I am controlling my powers. It's just I have too much that my body can't contain all of it, Hitsugaya explains. A slender woman with azure blue hair, midnight blue eyes, and snow-skin complexion steps forward. I am Juvia Loxer, demigod of Ceto. Juvia is wearing a thick heavy coat that one would wear during winter and not during summer. She also wearing a winter hat that goes with the coat. Juvia is holding an umbrella that she spins around in her hands. Then the final person steps forward. Yellow blonde hair, golden yellow eyes with bags underneath them because her cell didn't allow her a good night of sleep. She's wearing a black sleeveless onesie with a hood over her head. The woman is barefooted too. But the one thing that stands out the most are the black snake tattoos going up both of her arms. I am Medusa Gorgon, demigod of Glycon. And before you say anything, my mother loved the tale of how Medusa came to be, so she named me after the Gorgon. Cronus can just feel the power that they give off. Outside it is raining with a heavy downpour. The Titan of Time can tell that it's the demigod Juvia that is causing it to rain. While he can't feel that much from Medusa in terms of power like the other two, he can feel that she's holding it back. With that being said, that means the demigod of Glycon understands to not flare her power. This is looking better and better. Dogtooth, said demigod, straighten up. I want you to lead our forces and attack Camp Half-Blood once more. Are you sure about this, brother? Hyperion had to ask because he can't see how attacking the camp again would a good thing when the last attack ended so poorly. Because this time we have demigods, powerful demigods that will be attacking this time around. Charlotte nods, it will be down. The word has it that the demigods for the Olympians have left Camp Half-Blood. Where have they gone to? One group went to Charleston. The goddess of love spends most of her time there because it's a place of love. The other group is heading to Chicago. We don't know why they're heading, but we should send some of our forces to fight them. Yes, I'll leave that to you. Cronus stands up out of his throne. While my brothers are the generals in this army, you are their captain. Anything they tell you, you're to give the orders out as you see fit. This war just turned with our side winning. The Titan of Time waited for the demigods to leave before turning to his brothers. When this war is over, end the demigods. Are you sure, brother? Hyperion can see the good they'll be in the future as powerful they are. Yes, they are too powerful. It would be only a matter of time before they would attack us and take the throne. Just like Zeus and the other gods did. Hyperion turned to Koios. I'm surprised that you aren't saying anything about this. One of demigods is your son. If you were a titan, that would be different. While my son is powerful, he is still a being that is below me. He should be honored to be killed by me, his father. What none of the titans knew is that someone was standing just outside. They heard the whole thing about how they'll betray them when this war was over. It seems that plans are going to have to move faster than they should. The others needs to hear this. If the titans are thinking about ending us, then the gods must be thinking the same thing. Canada. A few days passed since Bel Rev was destroyed, and during those days Garm, Ciri, who waken up 2 days later, Alma still needed a little bit of help to move around, but not very much. Before they crossed the border into the Great North, Garm founded some coats for them to use if the weather gets bad. Hiking through a forest as snow falls around them. Selena doesn't know much about Canada, but she does know that it is summer and it shouldn't snow like it is. You know, you guys never did tell me where we're going. The daughter of Aphrodite would like to know where she's going. Right, Garm looks back as if something was following them. We're going to meet up with an old friend. An old friend? Another demigod, Ciri said as she leaps over a fallen tree. He lives all the way up in Canada because the gods can't go this far north. The demigod of Artemis had to stop herself from saying because the north is home to another pantheon. Why would this demigod live so far north? Because the gods feared him. Ciri stops and looks back towards her friend. What do you know of Rome? Ciri, are you sure? The one who asked this was Alma. Garm had to do a double take. For if Alma, a crazy person, was asking if someone was sure, then something was wrong. Yes, Selena, what do you know of Rome? Not much. I was never one for history. Before you say anything, the teacher couldn't stop looking at me funny. I wasn't going to say anything. Selena? Ciri pauses with her trying to find the right words, but none come to mind. So she decides to go with the straightforward path. There are more than one pantheon. Selena looks at Ciri like she's grown a second head. What do you mean? There is more than one pantheon? Yes, Garm chimes in. The world is too big of a place for all the gods to create. Don't ask why. Just know that there are more than Greeks. What Ciri is trying to tell you that the Romans that took over when Greece fall from power, the gods became Romans themselves. I'm not one for history, remember. It was around when Troy fell. Selena knows of Troy. The founders of Rome were those of Troy. And just like how Troy was powerful, so too did Rome became powerful. The gods saw this and became the gods for Rome. Now the reason we're telling you this is because we're about to meet with a Roman. But not just any Roman. Alma smiles like she's about to go see an old friend, which is true, the demigod of Vesta. In other words, the demigod of Hestia. Just how powerful is this demigod? The gods feared this demigod for a reason. She has to wonder just how powerful was he. Smiling fondly at this demigod, he's not just powerful. The Roman half-bloods work differently than those of Greek. One is that they'll let anyone join their camp. Descendants of half-bloods can join their camp, which are called legacies. These legacies, while not as powerful as a half-blood, can still do many good things. This demigod is in fact a legacy of Mars, the Roman vision of god of war. That sounds strange. A legacy of Mars that became the demigod of Vesta. Garm laughs at the joke in his head. He was something else. Mustang became the leader of New Rome. That's what the Roman half-bloods live at, by the way. He became their leader and was leading them to a new age. He had plans the gods didn't like. I'm taking it that the gods did something about it. Selena can tell that something happened. And something bad. You have no idea. I just came to see the fallout of it. The Roman half-bloods were fixing to revolt against the gods, for Mustang was the new Julius Caesar. Alma jumps up and spread out her arms to the skies with a crazy grin on her face. It was glorious. The power-hungry fools killed Caesar and rushed outside saying that the evil dictator was dead. But what they didn't know that the people of Rome loved Caesar so much that panic and rioting started to happen. Those old fools wanted their power so much that they killed the only person that was holding Rome together. Of course Alma would love that part, Garm says dryly. Anyway, when the gods came and defeated Mustang, all of New Rome didn't like that one bit and almost stopped worshipping the gods entirely. Wow, that was the only thing that Selena could say. One man did all that. Then Selena frowns as the gods attacked a demigod because he was causing change. Change that they feared more than anything. The group came to a small cabin with a plume of smoke coming out of the chimney. The daughter of Aphrodite can say that it's nice with how it is. Not over the top, but just like how a family would want it. She can see how a demigod of Hestia can live there. Ciri knocks on the door. When the door opens, a man with a clean-shaved face greets them. His dark hair is worn casually unkempt, falling over his eyes. Well, one eye. He is wearing an eye patch over his right eye. The man is wearing thick, heavy clothes for this strange snow that is falling around them. Ciri? The man asked, what are you doing here? Roy Mustang, the time has come, Ciri said. The time has come for the heart of New Rome to take the lead. Roy let them inside, for the weather started to get worse. Inside, the cabin is small enough for Roy to live his life, but with 4 others it kind of is cramped. In the very middle of the cabin is a small hearth burning, keeping the place warm. Sit. I don't get many people coming this way. I have coffee or tea. Like I said, I don't get very many people coming this way. Ciri sits in front of the hearth. Mustang, you know this would come one day. Roy stopped making the coffee to stare out the window he is standing in front of. I made a promise on that day to never fight again. I can still hear them, you know. The dead. We all still hear those that died, Mustang. That's what it means to be a demigod. I like the voices, says Alma as she munches on some cookies that she's somehow gotten a hold of. Of course you do, Alma. Garm leans back and stares up at the ceiling. None have asked for this to come on us, man. All I just want to do is live a life where I can go anywhere. Do what I pleased. But being a demigod is hard work. You know, I have used my powers since coming here. Roy lights a small cooker with a match. I just can't bring myself to use these powers that Lady Vesta gave me. Mustang. Ciri doesn't know what to say. She's never seen Roy like this before. There are 2 Roys that people most likely don't know. The one on the surface seems to be shallow, self-absorbed, and an incorrigible womanizer, infamous among many of his colleagues and subordinates alike for the selfish and narcissistic aura that he gives off. He comes off to most as a sort of cocky layabout, shirking most of his duties and delegating his paperwork to subordinates while sitting idly at his desk with an amused smile on his face as he procrastinates. However, while these traits do have a place in his real personality, much of his outward persona can perhaps be considered an intentional facade perfectly designed to cause those unfamiliar with him to underestimate his remarkable intelligence and ability. Mustang is an exceptional tactician, well-versed in various strains of combat theory and particularly talented in the realms of surreptitious information gather, covert operations and enemy ensnarement. At the core, he is a remarkably devoted commander whose primary focus and personal duty is to his friends and subordinates. Though he hides it well behind a veil of cynicism and self-importance. Mustang is a man who cares deeply about the people who trust and support him and goes to great lengths to ensure their safety and well-being, even at the risk of his own. As a man considerable powerful, Mustang considers himself a protector to those without and acts accordingly, earning the staunch loyalty of his most trusted compatriots. Unfortunately, his self-imposed position as protector has caused him to display a penchant towards stubbornness in regards to his pride on the field and a fiery temper, both of which have been shown to cloud his judgment in certain situations. This was what caused him not just his eye, but those that followed him, and knew Rome become a shadow of its former self. Belle Rev have been destroyed. Siri thought this might help with Mustang getting out of this funk. I know, everyone's eyes widen. Lady Vesta visit from time to time, worrying about me like a mother. She told me that the gods plan to end all the current demigods after this war is over with. Alarm bells go off in everyone's heads. The gods want to end the current demigods when this war was over. A war that they weren't a part of, but was forced into because the gods are too weak to defeat Cronus and his forces. She tells me that this war isn't going like what they wanting it to go. Cronus has the king of Titans for a reason. Zeus was lucky to win the first time around. Roy, Mustang knows it's real because Siri has always called him by his last name. We need you to become the demigod of Vesta once more. You are the only one that can lead up to victory. Victory to what? It's only a matter of time before this war spills into the mortal world. Something like this just doesn't affect our world only. The mortals will notice what is happening too. What Roy said was true. While the mist makes it so that mortals can't see what is happening, there is only so much that the mist can cover. There will be a time when the mist will fail and the mortal world will learn of the world that was been hidden right in front of their eyes. And Roy believes that this war will cause the mist to fail. You know that Amanda Weller wants the throne of Olympus for herself. She'll most likely will rule like Zeus. Though Naruto wants Hestia to be placed on the throne, Roy knows how Naruto feels about the goddess of the hearth. Even Roy can see that she would be perfect to rule instead of Zeus, but she is too kind-hearted. But I want to add a third player, you. Roy had to turn and look at the demigod of Artemis. He had to, for what he just heard is one of the most stupidest things he'd heard in a really long time. I think I'd heard you wrong there, Siri. What did you say? Roy had to be sure he heard correctly. I said, I want you to be the third player. Weller wants the throne for herself. Naruto wants to put Hestia on the throne. I want to put you on the throne. You are Hestia's demigod, so you would have what she has. And you served as a legionnaire for over 10 years and even lead New Rome for a time. You already knows what it's like to be a ruler already. Mustang, you are the perfect one to be the new king of Olympus. What say you? Roy just stares at Siri before going back to finish up making the pot of tea. He thinks over what Siri said. Roy lose a lot when the gods came to New Rome and ruined everything. He'd lose those that followed, killed by the gods for just following orders. With all that going on, Roy didn't attack the gods in retaliation because he understood that wouldn't bring those that died back. But when the gods started to send monsters that shouldn't have gotten through the magical border, that was when Roy retaliated. It's one thing when a legionnaire dies, it's another when innocent children who were too young to even lift a sword were devoured by monsters. That's when Roy fought back and even hurt several of the gods. As the gods showed that they were willing to harm innocent people during the fighting, Roy faked his death, sought that more death could be prevented, and it did. It left a sour taste in Mustang's mouth at the thought of the gods using such underhanded tactics to win a battle. But most of the old stories have them fooling their foes into defeat. That defeat would hurt their foes' pride and make them want to have revenge. Revenge that they can't get, so they target half-bloods that might or might not know about the truth. Roy placed the fleshly made cup of tea down in front of Siri. She watches as Roy sits in a chair and just stares into the hearth. It was like he was talking with the hearth for some time before he said anything. If I'm going to be leading the charge against the gods, then we'll have to do a few things first. This causes to grab everyone's attention. First, we need an army to face against the gods, but a powerful one, because the gods will just target innocent people if they are losing. Second, have to eliminate the Titans first and sway their forces to join our side. And lastly, when I become king of Olympus, all goddesses will be required to wear tiny miniskirts. Everyone just stares at the demigod of Vesta in silence. Garm claps his hands together and agrees with what Mustang just said. Miniskirts. Yeah. Alma's blue scavenger appears and snaps at the demigod of Hermes. Aw. What? He was the one that said it. Garm points to Roy. I have no words to that, said Siri. The first two are a given. We'll talk about that last one. But now we know what we must do.